just trying to find the south. But if you're looking for the truth, gotta find it out. NASA can't go to space, so we hit the roof. Get it, hit the roof. And it all came to light with 200 proofs. Now I'm just really sick of people lying to me. So when I tell the truth, don't come crying to me. Pick up the phone, get on the line with me. Line with me. Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call?
And welcome everybody to Globebusters, the Fine Art of Subterfuge. I am your host, Bob, Xanadude60, and we are back with another great show for you today. And today we are going to be kind of looking at, everybody seems to know what isn't happening. I think that's kind of obvious, but what I'm curious about, and I'm sure what a lot of people are curious about, is exactly what is happening. What is the plan behind all this? Where are they taking this, That's something that there's a whole lot of speculation on, and I have to be honest with you and say, we certainly don't have any definitive answers. Have some pretty good ideas, but nothing definitive because that's how the overlords are. They are very good at keeping secrets. And kind of surprising us even from time to time, even though ultimately I think we do know the grand scheme of the scheme, right? So anyway, we're going to try and figure that out today, and we have a great panel to talk about it. So let me go ahead and introduce them. First up, as always, we have Jeran from Jeranism. How you doing today, Jeran?
Doing well, Bob. Thanks. Glad to be here. Ready to flatten the curve. Let's do it together.
Awesome. Sounds good. And next up, we have the most awesome voice in Flat Earth, Karen B. How you doing today, Karen?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. We're thrilled to have you guys, and hope you have some good ideas on this.
I'll do my best.
You'll do your best. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Next up, we have from Witsit Gets It, our newest Globebuster, Austin Witsit. How you doing today, Austin?
Good. Listen, Jen actually just hit me. I can actually get behind like a mainstream little saying, flatten the curve. So I second the notion, yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's about time they caught up, right?
Except for there is no curve. This is like
right.
Yeah,
Touche, yeah. Which curve? All right, cool. Next up, we have the doctor who is in, Rodrigo Ferrar Nunez. How you doing today, Rodrigo?
Hello, Bob. Thank you for having me. Yes, I'm doing okay. We're hopping along and trying to keep busy. So here we go for another good one. Awesome. Thank you for having me, man.
Yep,
and
awesome.
Welcome.
All right,
everyone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we also have a special guest today from the official Globe and Flat Earth discussion, or official Flat Earth and Globe discussion group. Sorry about that, Nathan. Nathan Thompson. How you doing today, Nathan?
I'm excellent. Thanks so much for having me this week on the show. I just want to say to everyone tuning in, if you didn't see last week's show where Bob had Amanda Yummy Mommy, she's an MD. That was an excellent show. I mirrored it. So great work so far, guys. Really happy to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, she really did do a good presentation. And boy, is she under attack. But, it's getting a lot of press. I noticed that, she did a Facebook feed, I think the next day after the Globebuster show. And it was because she had put out a tweet saying, something that definitely was not mainstream about the coronavirus, and it got the attention of some fairly major media outlets. So they were there interviewing her on that for the 5 o'clock news, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, guys. So today we're going to be, a little bit later on, we're going to be taking some phone calls, and we're going to get the thoughts of some of our viewers, and we haven't taken phone calls in a long, long time. And so I figured this would be a good time to do that because everybody does seem to have their take on this. But so what I wanted to do today is kind of focus on, some of the possibilities that could be arising out of this. I think it's pretty obvious with the people that have gone out and actually done the, feet on the ground investigations to the hospitals that, there's nobody there. They seem to be setting up a big ruse, they're setting up tent cities and, diagnostic things that are completely empty. The emergency rooms are empty. When people go into the emergency rooms, they say, well, go to your primary care physician. And when you go to your primary care physician, they say, well, go to emergency rooms or call this number if you have. In other words, people are just getting the massive runaround, right? And nobody seems to know anything about anything. But what I find amazing about it is, for example, Karen, that Brian went to a hospital emergency room yesterday, and it was so amazing because he was talking to the nurse on duty on admittance for the emergency room, and she was 100% in total belief that there was this pandemic going on, and yet there wasn't a soul in there, and nor had she
Yes.
seen anybody.
Yeah, it's insanity. There's no one in the tents, no one being tested. No one's allowed in the hospital. There's signs on the outside that say, don't come here. If you have coronavirus, go home. And then call your doctor and they diagnose you over the phone.
Wow.
What the heck?
Yeah. So, what are
And
people?
that's going on everywhere.
Yeah,
How
it
easy
is.
is that to fudge numbers and to just make stuff up?
Well, obviously, very
ridiculous.
easy.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It's so transparent
Yes.
and people don't see it. That's what we're like wondering. How is the world falling for this?
It's crazy. It's unbelievable.
The TV, it's that magic box that people
Yeah.
go home, stay home. What else do people have to do but sit there and what's the latest? When am I going to be let out of my house? When am I going to go back to normal? So what do? They turn on the TV. The TV showing, hospitals
numbers.
overrun, the numbers, talking about when, how bad Trump's handling it. It's just nonsense. I don't know how anybody watches that crap anymore, and maybe that's why I'm kind of out of the loop, is because I'm not watching it.
Yeah. I
Can't.
refuse to turn the TV on at this point. I don't want that thing broadcasting its evil signals into my house. I mean, I know that sounds terrible. Like my grandma used to say stuff like that when I was a child. She would tell us that the TV was evil, that Big Brother was watching us, and she would put a blanket or a towel over the TV when she didn't have it on. And my mom and I thought she was insane. And now I look back at that and I'm like, Grandma knew what was up. She knew what was up.
Wow.
I thought she was insane. And now look at this. Now look at what the world that we're living in.
Yeah.
Especially if they know that, our feelings, our emotions cause sickness. Then, you put people in their homes, you tell them they can't work. All of a sudden, all these mom and pop stores are going to be gone. It's just pushing everybody into corporate jobs. When we come out of this, everyone who has a job at a mom and pop or a small restaurant is going to have to go with one of the big chains, make less money, while the rich get richer. And the people staying at home watching TV, they're going to get sick over something, either watching the TV, either hearing that all these people are getting sick, watching hospitals overrun with patients. All of a sudden, everyone's going to be getting sick. It's just a domino effect. And how can you prevent people? We've been telling people turn off the news forever. At this point, I'm not sure you can help people. They're going to be home. They're going to be sad. They're going to be nervous about their livelihood. How they're going to pay rent in a couple months. It's like I heard the other day that, I don't know if it was New York or San Francisco, someone said, oh, now they're going to, they can't evict you for the next 30 or 90 days. It's like, well, what difference does that make? If the people don't have money to pay rent, it's not like the people who they owe the rent to is going to say, okay, we'll just forgive those 2 months. It's going to be, no, now instead of owing $2,000 for your rent, you're going to owe $6,000 because you're back 3 months. You're going to get evicted eventually, and that just weighs on people's minds. It's going to drive them crazy.
Yeah.
Make
Even
them
though I am getting notifications from some of the political groups that are asking me to sign petitions to have the banks and utility companies and rent properties basically cease collecting mortgages and rent and utility payments for like the next 2 months. From like moveon.org and stuff like that, because long ago I used to belong to all that stuff, and obviously they have never taken me off of their list. And now I know that it's basically one of those Soros organizations, or I'm not sure exactly who owns Move On, but same thing. And they're doing this. So I'm wondering if they're actually going to do something like that. It would be an absolute miracle if they did, but obviously there would have to be a lashback of some kind, if they did that. And if their idea is to destroy the economy, I think that's a really good start, right there. But that seems like it's only one of the many things that could be happening. For example, now Nathan, I know that you just watched a Richie from Boston interview where he was interviewing, who was it, Dr. Kaufman?
Yep.
And that's cool because before that, Richie from Boston has been just fear mongering the hell out of people, for the last couple weeks, saying, if you don't see what's happening, he's showing all the deployments of the military. And granted, yeah, I have no doubt this stuff is going on, but he's saying, they're coming to get you, they're going door to door, they're gonna, they're coming to take you away right now. And when I watch stuff like that, I can't help but think to myself, and what exactly is it we're supposed to do, Richie? Are we supposed to declare war on these people and shoot them when they come to the front door? Or, what exactly is the purpose of this? I don't think they're going to be, coming and forcing people to take vaccinations, at least not at this point. So the question then becomes, what is it that we're supposed to do? And why is he pushing this as such a imminent thing? And if, say, for example, he was right and the military was coming and doing this and taking people away, right? And this would be under Operation what is it called, Project Zephyr and Project Pogo, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. But even if it was something like that, and they were, coming and doing all these terrible things to Americans, America is one of the most heavily armed countries. It is the most heavily armed country in the world, where every citizen, I think there's an average of 2 to 3 guns per citizen, right? So to me, that would be crazy to do that. So, I mean, does anybody have any idea where Richie is going with this?
I
Yeah,
don't.
no, I haven't seen a lot of the fear mongering that he does, but I did see that interview. I don't follow Richie too much. I just thought that MD that he had on was incredible, and we need to start talking about this more. I mean, guys, if this is true and germ theory is a hoax, it blows the lid on COVID and it blows the lid on vaccines and the whole pharmaceutical industry, and it could be as big or bigger than flat Earth.
That's what I've been saying, Nathan. Exactly the same thing, because it's blows the doors off of everything. I mean, this is another really big one. I mean, they shut down the economy. They shut down the world over it.
Yeah, and it's been around for a long time as well. It's all already developed, which is great.
And you said, Karen, this is insanity. I always quote this, that insane is the inability to perceive reality. So when the news tells you, oh, there's this cartoon plague sweeping the universe, and we look around and all the hospitals are empty and none of our friends or family are really that sick, you're like, what? Well, that's just insanity to accept what the news is saying when reality is the exact opposite, and people just isolate and quarantine themselves. And I couldn't think of a better hoax. I mean, this is better than a fake alien invasion. As far as all the check marks it gives the New World Order for their agenda that they're trying to push.
Exactly.
Yeah, the only thing that makes me a little bit worried is that there's a long history of chemical weapons and Agent Orange and whatever. There's all kinds of stuff like that. And we don't know. We have aerosols also being thrown. We don't know exactly what it is. And it's there every day, and now it's stopped. Who knows? The maybe germ theory is wrong, but there are poisons, and still there's some precautions. Who knows what the heck's going on? I wouldn't. I hope it is just theater. But.
Well, yeah. Go ahead, Austin.
Yeah, I'm saying, to me, it pretty obviously is, though.
Exactly.
In any avenue you look for evidence about it, it shows that.
Yes.
Yeah, the COVID itself, right? The COVID itself.
Exactly.
Yep. And I agree 100%. The question is, guys, is why? To what end? What is the reason, that they're doing? What is the subterfuge here, right? It's certainly, obviously I think it's a multi-headed beast. I think, they're trying to crash the economy. They're probably trying to introduce a new cryptocurrency or a digital currency.
Digital currency, yes.
Yeah.
That's the first step,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
can
I agree.
easily be translated into a one world currency.
And
Correct.
would be completely trackable, right? So there, you know, there
Yes.
goes your
Yes.
private transactions, like we were talking about on Friday.
Yes.
Well, you know, that's not a good thing, but you know,
Complete
so
control over commerce.
exactly. Well, what's the scare? Oh, your money. Oh my God, your money's got germs on it. It's just so insane.
But
and
not the credit card.
not the credit
Right.
card, right?
Not the credit card machine, right?
And the machine, they don't need to clean that. But I think, you know, a big part of it is the social conditioning. You know, there's so many aspects of it. Like we're talking about, you know, the sexual education area. That's the kind of funny aspect of it. But there's some serious, you know, the social distancing, the fear of the person next to you, the constant fear of the next person, right? That is some form of social conditioning that is very scary. Like you see in the films from, like the film I keep coming back to is the THX 1138.
Yep.
And you see
Normalizing,
all
like pushing the state, like telling on each other, like for the state,
Mhm.
doing the state's
Exactly.
bidding.
exactly like Minority Report. Remember that one?
It's crazy stuff, man. Normalizing militarization.
Yeah, and I
Right.
think that's also part of it is to desensitize us to military operations, and you know, things like the
Mhm.
military coming to your door. And you know, Richie from Boston and other people are saying, well, they're going to come to your door, they're just going to take away your guns. And you know, for me personally, it's like, yeah, over my dead body. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that way, but you know, that obviously would have to be a necessary first step. And yeah, they do seem to be rolling in a lot of these armored, you know, urban assault vehicles, I guess, or whatever you want to call them. But still, when you're talking about, you know, 300 and God knows how many million armed Americans, I don't know. Of course, that in and of itself would be, you know, a war that would reduce the population dramatically, right? So maybe that is where they're going. It just seems crazy, though. And the
Well,
other, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I find that unlikely just because who makes up our military?
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
That's the people that's the poor people of the United States, because guess what? Most of them signed up to the military because they didn't really have too many other options as far as a career goes and having financial stability. And so they signed up to the military for that. So what you have is a military full of soldiers made up of the very people that they are trying to oppress. And they're
Or-
not going to turn their weapons on us.
That I would
Yeah.
agree with that.
Hopefully.
I don't think that would ever happen.
Well, they're going to coax us into compliance.
Right. They are order takers, and this is all about control. So that's what they want to do. And there's so many people that will back down. Yeah, there's us who say we will stand up. There's a lot of other people that will just never stand up. They'll always back down.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they're ordered to do, they'll do it.
And there's an easy
I
there's
think
an
a
easy
better-
workaround. to
Well,
that.
I don't know.
Go
I know
ahead.
a lot of military people, and I know a lot of them that said that they would never do that.
Yeah, I know quite a few that say the same thing. For
But
sure.
what I mean is,
but
if they
they're
put
gonna,
up the news tomorrow that everyone needs to stay in their house, they announce that everybody it's a quarantine, everyone's in their house for 30 days, people would all comply. You wouldn't really need the military to enforce that.
exactly.
You would have the threat of it, of course.
And there's
Right.
also a workaround for it too. That's quite simple. Look, if this is a worldwide thing and the UN is involved, what's to stop them from deploying U.S. troops overseas and bringing UN troops here?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of
I
solves
don't
that
know.
problem.
How smooth do
Bingo.
you think that's going to go over, though? How you think? That's one thing I don't think the American people would just all be cool with.
Yeah, my worry is that, you know, when you talk about that in civil war and whatnot, and people on the streets and armed people, there's also the relationship we see between 5G and crowd control. Apparently, wherever they set up 5G stations, they can also turn that against anybody who goes out on the street and gets out of line. And it's not even for crowd control. They can target single individuals that might be getting out of line.
Are
from the
you
distance.
referring to that lift in the lid video of Robbins yesterday?
No.
Okay,
So
because
I saw.
I thought that was ridiculous, honestly. But
No,
we'll
what I-
talk about that later.
No, I didn't see that. What I saw was the Q video, but it was something in the Q video. It's not an argument she was making. It was a Dutch politician who was proposing 5G, was pushing 5G, and her discourse, when she pushed 5G, she talked about crowd control. She said 5G also works for crowd control, and they even showed the little graphics of them blasting, that when they can make the air heat you with
That's
the
true.
microwave.
But there's a reason why they didn't mass produce those, and I covered this a couple of weeks ago. Is that kind of crowd control is easily defeated by putting something in front of you, almost anything really,
Right.
because almost anything stops those millimeter waves. You could take a trash can lid literally and use it as a shield, and those millimeter waves would never get to you. So I think that's, and of course the government knows that, and I'm sure that's, they need something that has a little bit more penetrating, power, because if you have a whole crowd of people, and literally if they took a few rolls of aluminum foil,
That's it.
could, so
Can you reflect it back at them?
I suppose to some degree, but really the potency of it comes from the ability to focus it to one point. And when you would reflect it back like that, it would kind of scatter it everywhere. So I don't think it'd be real effective.
So in your position, then all the military movements and all the stuff is kind of theater to play the part of the scene kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean there is a part of it I think that is possible, and it's kind of a scary thought. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with two things called Project Zephyr and Project Pogo. But essentially, those projects are designed to root out and go after truthers, specifically us. Okay, so what they are about, let me just read you something here. So they say, once everything is locked down and the streets are empty, the internet and power will go down. They will do this by areas, not the whole country at once. When that happens, everyone will be isolated. You can't talk to your neighbor, family member, or friends. You can't leave your house. There's no phone service. That's when they'll attempt to do this purge. They're going to eliminate approximately 15 million dissidents, members of the truth community, etc. This is called Project Zephyr. Okay? And, that's a scary thought, right? And then Project Pogo.
Where's that coming from?
This actually came from here. Let me bring this up. This actually came from a guy named David.
Seems to be fear pushing in my mind. I mean, I'll believe it when I see it. When they come take me out, then I'll let you guys know.
I agree.
The Q story
Video telling everybody I'm gone.
The Q story is exactly the same, that the internet's going to go down and there will be days of darkness, but that they'll be chasing the elites.
Yeah, and then that brings up a whole nother subject. Who or what is Q and what is the true agenda there? I mean, the way I look at it is like this. Maybe what Q says is right, but there's been enough anomalies in what Q has said and, things that haven't come to pass that you have to wonder if Q isn't a plant, for the truthers, and all these truthers are looking to Q and saying, oh yeah, everything's going to be great. And, Q says, well, this is okay that they shut everything down. And, that could be a possibility for them to then initiate Project Zephyr, right? And go after so-called dissidents. I don't know. And I don't want to fearmonger. I'm just, like I said, I'm just looking at possibilities, guys, because, is it all of these? Is it one of these? It's kind of crazy.
I don't think they
No,
can
that
get
I
away
think it's
with coming and getting Americans. Their plan always seems to be the less risky way, less messy way, is to just coax us into compliance. Usually it's out of fear of trauma, and then they just come in with a solution. And then we're in such a state of need for appeasement that we don't even look at the solution, and then they slip things in on us. I don't know. I've never really thought they're just going to all out try to forcibly do things, because it just wouldn't go over well.
Yeah, I agree. And go ahead, Nathan.
To add to what you were saying, Bob, with the Zephyr project, I can see how it's really easy for them to flip this and make it seem like, oh, the crazy conspiracy theorists who aren't practicing social distancing are the cause of this huge curve that we need to flatten out. So now we just need to flatten the conspiracy theorists. And so I could see them twist that a little bit, and that agenda being there. It'd just be interesting how they go about it.
Right. If they could pull that off, if they could convince the people of that, then you know what I mean? That's how they do it. Yeah, sure. I don't know. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, I agree. And somebody in the chat said, it's not just the USA. And I agree, it's not just the USA. However, the USA is unique in that, we have so many armed Americans. So this would be kind of a benchmark / linchpin or whatever. This would be a very key place to, initiate this kind of stuff. I mean, let's face it, if the US goes down and falls victim to this, what chance does the rest of the world have, right? If this actually went through the way that, some people are trying to warn us that it is. So I don't know. I mean, I hope that there are white hats out there that are doing, that are actually working on this, and that it's not all as hopeless as it may seem sometimes, because let's face it, even YouTube is getting to be that way. We're sitting here talking about how bad, the mainstream media is and the fear mongering and all that stuff. But I mean, come on, guys, get real. Look at your subscriptions and look at all the crap that's going on YouTube, right?
We're not on anybody's subscriptions. The show wasn't in anybody's notifications.
That's true.
And that's the kind of thing where I think that we've, maybe have turned the corner to now maybe we never will. It's very easy for them just to promote the mainstream. That's what people who tune in are going to watch. And yeah, we'll have our small corner here and people will tune in and listen and they'll know. But I think that the elite have always known that there will always be the 5% of people that will know that they're spitting bullshit. But if you've got the numbers, then it doesn't matter. And I've talked about the 90-10 rule before where, 90% of people will keep the other 10% in line. And as soon as that 10% goes up to 11 or 12, the other 90 will push it down. And as soon as our numbers go to 8 or 7, we'll bring up a couple good points that will bring those couple people back over. But I'm not sure how we can ever overwhelm the numbers because we don't have the mainstream media. We can't appear to people on their boxes every night at 11 o'clock. And we have to remember, a lot of people have jobs. They've got to work, and they come home and they really literally have an hour to catch up on what's going on in the world, and that's where they have to go. And it's the same thing when you're driving to work, listening to the radio. If they tune into those boxes, and I'm not saying we don't get people that listen to us or listen to our podcast, we do, but it's a small percentage when you take the whole pie into consideration.
Yeah,
I think one good way is getting off the ways that they can censor us and just getting on the streets. And I've been doing this for 5 years. Is that they can't stop us from handing a flyer to someone. I know now they're going to be all afraid of bugs and everything. But like, we all have a voice. If 1,000 people watching this show went and shared it with 10 people, and now you got 10,000 and they shared it with 10 people, you got 100,000 people watching Globebusters in 2 weeks. So, and that's a natural thing for people to share things that they're enjoying, things that they're interested in. So I just want to say to the audience, guys, we have work to do. We shouldn't just be sitting back and eating popcorn.
Yeah, that's true. Even though I love popcorn, and also to respond to Dee Dee, I saw your comment about, it's not like the USA is the only people that have guns. No, I know that, Dee Dee. But it is that the USA is unique in having so many guns. And that's the other thing. People, that was one of the biggest things that happened as soon as they started fear-mongering all this. In fact, every single time they fear-monger, our gun sales go off the charts.
I know, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, it really is, and I think that's a good thing. So that's why I'm saying that the United States would be very key in this, and that's all, but anyway, and that's all I was saying, Dee Dee, and I hope you understand that. But the United States is definitely unique in many ways, as far as that is concerned. So, but yeah,
I think she's in Belgium, and there they're using the sticks for social distancing. It's much harsher than here, and it's just across the border at the moment.
Yeah, I think she is too.
And what is really weird for me is that my cousin supposedly got sick with it in Italy. I heard from my mom, and I don't know if it is a placebo thing or another condition that got tagged, but apparently she got quite sick. But her husband apparently also had it and supposedly got better quicker.
But they
So-
can't actually tell if they have it. You know,
Right.
like,
Who knows what it is? That's what I'm saying, right? Yeah. And he works with,
You know what-
he's some sort of, he's a immunologist, I think. So he works with labs. So,
I don't know if you guys ever saw that Seinfeld episode with that kid who lives in a bubble.
oh,
yeah.
isn't that a film? Isn't that a film from the, isn't it a Joe Travolta film as well?
So it reminds me, and also think about the Matrix, how all the humans just lived in their little pods and contributed their energy towards, the Matrix. It's like, that's what everyone's doing. It's like, just sit at home, pay your taxes, contribute to the multinational corporations, and listen to the fake news. And it's like, they got everyone right where they want them.
Was that George Handicap in the chat?
George Nutsack, yeah, that was George Nutsack in the cat. He's not there anymore. I don't know if you guys saw it. I think it was last week when I was talking about the video that I saw where the World Health Organization, and also it was written in several books about treating the pandemic with a blow dryer. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm gonna get you for that. I'm gonna expose you and I'm gonna take you down. And I mean, what a pathetic little asshat that guy is.
As if Bob came up with that idea. Like,
I know,
Bob-
right? I'm simply talking about it, but oh my god, I'm going to report you to the authorities.
Oh, you can't even talk about things anymore. You can't even talk about an article that came up because heaven forbid someone's going to think that you were the one who started it. Bob
It's
came
a
up,
thought
woke up,
police.
stick a blow dryer in your face and you'll be fine. If anybody knows or listens to the show, certainly Bob didn't say that.
No, and I even asked Amanda about that. It's like, this was actually in an article that the guy was quoting, and remember we were looking at it, and it was a WHO.org address, and behind on there. And anyway, George sums up, well, he never did post that. It's like, yeah, I did, George, you friggin' idiot. You just had to keep watching for a little while, and it came up later in the show. But my God, that guy what a moron. I mean,
we read it for word. We read it letter for letter.
Yeah.
So weird, these guys.
So anyway, I mean, what a loser. I mean, you just got to be amazed at people like that. But anyway, enough about.
He's about 4'6". It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's like 4 foot tall, and obviously he was the kid that everybody beat up in school, and can't blame them for that, especially if he's been that way his whole life. So.
It's funny how him and Jim Panda both actually look like real actual trolls.
I know.
I saw Jim Panda. I couldn't believe that was him.
I know. He's scary looking, isn't he? Holy cow.
A little bit. Oh boy.
So anyway, getting away from that douchebag.
It's so funny to be here watching this show. It just makes me laugh.
I know, and watching yours too.
Oh, was he watching my show? Good for him.
Yeah, he was. Well, that's when he decided he'd make the video and call me out and report me to the authorities. And or if I didn't retract my statement by Monday at noon, he was going to turn me into the authorities.
Oh boy. Going to call your boss just like he did with
Brian Mullen. Yes.
Yeah, he likes to ruin people's lives.
He has already done this to Brian Mullen before. Is he the one who did it?
He's the
This
one.
nutsack guy?
Yep.
He should be getting sued.
That's funny. The Panda dude, I guess he's on Discord. I went in that server and just like flat smacked tons of people at the same time one time. People were spiraling, dude. It was hysterical.
That'll cause a meltdown if you do that.
It's so funny.
Yeah. So anyway, so where were we before we got so rudely distracted by that moron? Oh,
We were
that's right.
talking about those two projects. You were in the middle of Zephyr,
Yeah.
and you were.
What is Zephyr? Yeah, we need some more information on that. I hope that was. Wait, where's that coming from? And
Oh, that came from this guy, this
Sounds pretty scary.
David Goldberg guy, who honestly I had only heard of him a few times. You guys can see my share screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so and this guy apparently was like a major truth seeker guy, and put out all this information, and then he wound up dead. and he was talking about these two top secret projects, Zephyr and Pogo, where they were essentially, trying to set it up where they can round up truthers, right? And it's in this article. I'll put it in the show notes and everything. But this is where it came from, and I think I'm not even sure where I got this from, but yeah, that's just where. And I've heard that before, where it's like, yeah, they're going to try and go after the truthers, like, and they have, like, guys like Russian Bids and PK and people like that. Obviously, those guys are a huge thorn in their side, and I'm sure Globebusters isn't exactly well liked either, for exposing their stuff. So,
Yeah, I think I heard this like in the audio recording. Yeah. There's like he's talking an audio recording, and he goes in detail about this document that someone from the inside gave him, and it goes in detail. And it seemed the Grabblers weren't happy with how many people were finding out about him or something like that. And he has a whole audio clip. My friend had sent this to me. It's pretty crazy. I want to say it was found after he was found dead or something.
Yeah. There was apparently after he was found dead, and then the police were in there and they didn't find a safe that was hidden, and he had shared the combination with the safes with some friends, and they went and got these documents out. And I don't know the whole story that well, but like I said, I've heard this before, and it's also one of those things that would seem to make sense, right? You would want to go after the people that are completely, destroying your house of cards. So, that's where that comes from. And I hope, and at some point it wouldn't surprise me, but it's actually true. But I really can't see, that being a high priority right now. And again, they're doing this with all these fake, fake statistics, which clearly are not happening. And there do seem to be some troop movements and some equipment movements and stuff like that. But again, like I said, I doubt they would try, going after the most heavily armed country in the world initially. So, again, what is it? That's the question. And that's the thing that I really want to figure out. And that's, I think that's what we're going to do when we take some phone calls here shortly. But, it's just kind of a freaky thing.
I don't think they could get away with like forcibly doing things to other countries either, because Americans would be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And because of the guns that you spoke of, we kind of have a lot to say. Like they have to take care of us and the world follows suit. So they're trying to coax us into some version of compliance, in my opinion, right now. They're just obviously going to use fear mongering. They've already put that in place. And they're going to like try to coax us into these new things that we are going to accept. That we feel is basically they're needed at that point, and then the rest of the world follows.
So just a dystopian push towards a transhumanist type of AI controlled society.
Yeah. Yep. That's
so
what I think.
I just saw a video this morning where I think it was Tanzania or I'm not saying it properly, but they were using robots to enforce the quarantine, and I was like, wow.
In Italy as well.
Doesn't get more New World Order than that.
Bro, true. That's crazy.
What kind of
I saw that they were
robots?
doing that in Italy. Drones, I thought, in Italy at least, from what I heard.
From the drones? I heard that too.
In Italy, they had drones barking at people on the beach. Go home!
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, people taking walks in there.
Sorry, Bob.
Yeah, go ahead, Nathan. No, it's cool. Go ahead.
A video in Brazil where the helicopter was flying like 10 feet above the coast, and all the people were just getting blasted with sand. And this was like the military's way of clearing out the beaches and telling people to go home. I was like, geez, imagine being at the beach and just having a helicopter come right over your head and all this sand is blowing in your face at like 50 miles an hour. That would hurt so bad.
they don't care. It's crazy in Brazil. The police stayed there. It's war. It's been a war forever there with drug traffickers.
Well, one thing I think for sure, there's without a doubt, because obviously there's the pharmaceutical industry who clearly has, their agenda of making billions of dollars on this, but there's also the depopulation agenda, Bill Gates and all that. So I think one thing that they're definitely going to try and do, and in fact, in some countries, they've already made it a law where taking the vaccination is going to become mandatory. So a lot of people, may or may not have options on that. But if you don't have options, one thing that I really liked by Dr. Kaufman here was talking about if you actually did have to take that shot, that there are certain things that you can do to neutralize it. And I think that's the kind of information that really needs to be put out there to people in how to actually neutralize that. And I asked that question to Amanda, and I don't think she really gave us much of an answer for it. But if I'm not mistaken, Nathan, he really went into pretty good detail on that, didn't he? Oops, Nathan, you there? You're muted.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. He went into it for an hour. It covered everything, but in detail talked about a lot of different steps you can take prior to getting the vaccination, and then stuff you can do the day you get the vaccination. And he talked about like the hard residue that develops around the aluminum in your body, and basically how to get rid of that. It was incredible. So I'd recommend going and listen to the whole interview. I don't plan on taking the vaccine, but if it is mandatory, that is information we should all know. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I totally agree. And David Weiss just shared this, and I had seen this last week also. I find it really interesting. So they're showing the population from this Deagle.com in 2017, population 327 million, and the forecast by 2025, the population down to 100 million. Now, what are they saying there other than obviously we're going to get rid of 227 million people over the next 5 years?
Yeah, what the heck is this?
Yeah, I saw that. It's crazy,
Remember
man.
seeing this is we brought this up a while ago, Rodrigo. It's crazy, huh?
Yeah, who came up with this? Who is in charge of this?
This is like
projection?
a ordering site where you order high level military gear, I believe, right? Isn't that what Daigle.com is?
I am not sure. I think so. You may be right, but somebody may want to look into that.
Forecast. Who's forecasting? That's my question. Where's the forecast?
That's what I want to know, because if you're the director or whoever it is of this company, and this rolls across your desk, and you're looking at that number, you'd be like, "Hey, Susie, get in here. How'd you go from this to that? You know what I mean? We're way off. It's like a typo or something. How is this the official report? This is wild."
Yeah, how many people are missing here in just how many years, and how does that get there?
Yeah, there's a few countries that there's drastic, relative to the population, like UK is also. But this one's, when I pulled across the US, dude, this blows my mind, because I don't even see how that could be accomplished without some drastic measures, obviously.
Well,
we haven't talked about it yet, but I think one of their best ways to get rid of people is war. So that could be coming too. I just want to put that out there. People still believe that like countries hate other countries, and they don't know we live in like a one world government that's not public yet.
Right.
So,
That's
Yeah, somebody put in the chat Dr. Deagle. I don't know. Does anybody know who Dr. Deagle is?
No.
Me either.
Now, I'm on the site right now seeing if that same page is up, and it is. You can actually go to the website, Bob, if you want, and show people that is not just a screenshot. That is, if you go to Daigle.com and then go scroll all the way to the bottom and click countries. Let me see. That's how I got there. Yeah, do that, Daigle.com, and then scroll to the bottom on the far right where it says countries.
Okay.
Then click United States of America. And there it is still. So it's showing that the current population, 327 million, then forecast 2025 population at 100 million.
Wow, I wonder what some of the other countries are like. Let's look at
Yeah.
the
China.
real thing is, you have this omnipotent foresight of something drastic like that happening. Why aren't you letting us know what it is?
Right. Their population remains the same.
Remains the same. That's interesting. And David says Dr. Deagle is not the same Deagle. He's a crackpot, no relation. Okay. Thanks, David.
I think Russia remains the same too.
No, there's a pretty good
There's
decrease
a drop,
in Japan. Yeah. Yep. 126 to 103 million for Japan. Let's look at Germany.
Why would they have this site? So weird.
Whoa, look at Germany. 81 million to 28 million. Holy cow.
What?
Yeah.
That's like 75%, 3/4 of the people.
Yeah, I'd really like to know where they're coming up with this thing. Let's look at France.
World figures
France.
down 6.9 billion.
39 million.
Wait, now
that
does
goes
this,
down.
if you subtract that number from current population, does that line up with Georgia Guidestone's bullshit?
Well,
Excuse
No.
my language.
yes,
Oh.
yes, actually it
Does it?
does, because Georgia Guidestone, I think, said to bring it down to about a half a billion. So 500 million is what they were looking for.
Right.
Right, but China stays the same. Still has over 1 billion people.
Let's look at the UK.
It drops.
Ooh, 66 million down to 15 million.
What?
Yeah. That's the first one someone sent me, and I was like, "What is this website?" Yeah, dude.
They don't say the source of the data is anywhere. When you go to that site, does it have anything at the bottom or anywhere where it says, or you hover over, doesn't do anything?
What do you mean? Like if you,
Just
Yeah, where is it coming from? How?
I don't know. You seen anything? View
No.
year 2025 forecast. So
There, they have all the populations there.
what would be their reason? I mean, if we contacted somebody from this website, how could they possibly stand behind that?
Right.
that's one way to find out.
They'd have to have some explanation for your projection. Yeah.
Yeah, excuse me. I'm interested in ordering something, but I'm wondering if your forecast, which is 5 years away, by the way.
Good work. We got to try this. Is there a contact us button?
I'm trying to see if I can figure out any kind of contact.
Yeah, well, like Bill Gates, if we do a really good job with vaccines and other healthcare related, we can perhaps drop that figure. He said, what, 15%? This is a hell of a lot more than 15%.
It's a pretty crazy site, too. I mean, if you go to the bottom and, I just clicked, what did I just click? Protection systems. And then there's like currently operational, planned and projected, retired or canceled. And then I went to planned and projected, and then you can go down and it's like drones and unmanned underwater vehicle. I don't know where they get all this information. Drone protection system called Blade. Click that. The U.S. Army Ballista. Anyway, but I'm not seeing any operational capacity. I don't know where they get all this information, but I don't see any contact, which is funny. At least not yet. I just
Did they sell this merchandise there? What would they do?
They keep track. You can actually, according to this thing, you can go back and look at all the orders, like most recent orders from the United States. It says over here.
Countries.
United
the countries selling weapons.
Yeah, and then there's news, and it's actually updated. There's Friday, March 27th, U.S. Army selects 4 designs for future vertical lift program.
David's here.
That's crazy. Now, Mexico has no change in population. Hey, David.
Hey. When we found this in 2017, there was a whole bunch of people, including myself, that tried to call, get a comment, email, extensive tries, nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing else.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you Google world's population, it says 7.8 billion. So that's right. Oh, it's pretty close to the Georgia Guidestones.
Yep. Yeah, because they state flat out. And of course, I don't know how many people know this, but have you ever seen an aerial shot of the Georgia Guidestones?
Nope.
No.
With blood.
It's covered in blood. That's right.
Yeah, like a sacrifice was done up there.
Oh my God.
And Dee Dee says the number for the Netherlands don't change. That's interesting.
All right,
Do you remember when the Georgia Guidestones had a mystery little block with numbers and letters on it? Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, and nobody could really figure out what it was about or something.
Right. So nobody could figure it out. But then one day, and it was a totally staged event, a guy came, removed the block, and then with a chisel broke it into little pieces and said, "Does anybody want a chip?" And everyone's like, "Yes, I want one. I want a chip. I want a chip. I want a chip." Is that some sort of ritual?
Yeah, everybody's going, I want a chip. I don't want no damn chip.
Does anyone want a chip? He said it multiple times, and people were like, "Yeah, I want one. I want one." And they're all reaching for it.
Wow.
Weird. Kind of like taking the sacrament or whatever.
Yeah, and 322, remember 322, March 22nd was the 40th anniversary of the Georgia Guidestones. And somebody also pointed out that if you look at it numerologically, 3 March of 2020, the entire month of March is 322, right? 3 of 2020. So, and I don't know much about numerology.
And then if someone looks back at when this is all over, however it turns out, and they realize maybe it is the 5G that is part of the problem, people are going to go, yeah, look at this on 322. Trump signed the national 5G legislation on 322.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
And
I saw
what's
that.
the deal? What's the plan for the United States? They're just gonna bump it through the society. No matter, you can't say no. That's it. Just gonna have to deal with it.
Well, I know that there's been pushback. A couple schools I know of one school that had it. Kids started getting cancer. The town flipped out and they removed it.
So, if this were any kind of guide, I would be looking at these with the population reduction and say, well, maybe those are the places where they're not going to mess with too much. But I don't know. I'd really like to know where they get their figures.
Yeah, are you talking about without the population reduction?
Yeah, without a major population.
I was thinking about that also. It also could be that, maybe they did have a population reduction, but there's a mass migration. So you don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I mean, in Ecuador, it just drops a few percent, but maybe it dropped 60% and a bunch of, Americans moved down to Ecuador. Who knows?
Yeah.
So
what do you think, David?
Sure.
Why do you think they're doing this? What's the biggest?
Well, I put a you know what? Here's the answer that I've been giving a lot lately. I have no idea what the heck is going on. It's mind blowing. But the problem that we're having is that the masses of the public, the people that surround us in our lives that are not in this group, people that are not awake, and I'll say it again, to the globe deception, they're easily convinced of anything. And there's two things. One, they get their information from the mainstream news. I put a meme in there if you want to show it. They get their information from the mainstream news in short little clips. That's all they're able to absorb because of the fluoride in their brains. They can only absorb little clips from their trusted sources. Okay, and then and that's a huge problem. And then the other one is people have to realize that there's evil in this world, and most people, including myself, before I got into this, I believed everything because I couldn't believe that people, with quotation marks around it, could be that evil. So,
yeah. I never believed that either until I read Deeper Insights into the Illuminati Formula, and I was mortified for 3 months.
Right. Yeah. So for the last 3 years, we've been trying to figure out this Deagle report on what's the reason for the drop, and is it really going to happen? Well, let's look at where we are today, which we couldn't have imagined a month ago. Nobody would have believed today's situation a month ago, even among us, or almost nobody. And look where this is going. Now that Deagle report starting to look quite credible. And it's not like they have this depopulation written in stone or anything, right?
Yeah, actually, they do.
Oh my God. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, I didn't see that before. If you scroll all the way to the bottom of the Deagle site, it does start giving some explanation. I just started reading it. It says there have been many questions about the country's forecast, specifically the one focusing on the United States. They won't be answered one by one, but below you can find some explanation, thoughts, and reflections. We're going to keep this short as possible. I just started reading it, just so you know there is something there. Mm-hmm. Do you see that? I don't know if you see that.
I'm not seeing it yet, but let me see Deagle country and then just Deagle.
Go countries over there.
Okay.
And then let's see, scroll all the way to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Where did I find this? Let me give you a link to what the page I'm at, because now I don't know how I got here. I was just clicking around. Here's a link. Basically you just put forecast. Here you go. Just put forecast at the end of it. Now scroll to the bottom and you'll read what I'm reading. That pink writing there?
Yep.
Anyway, just so I don't know what it says, but just start reading that.
It's talking about Ebola virus.
And what you heard, there's a video that I posted today, the Rockefeller plan, 10 years ago. And I also noticed, Event 201, which was the Bill Gates thing, it's 10 years ago in 2010. So that's another 201 numerologically. Numerologically, is that right?
Numerologically.
Do you guys see what this says at the link that Jeran just shared?
I'm reading that. Go
Do you
ahead.
see it? Despite the numeric data quantity, there is a quality model which is not a direct translation into numeric data. The 2014 strain of Ebola has a death rate of 50 to 60%, but try to imagine what would happen if there is a pandemic of Ebola with hundreds of thousands or millions infected with the virus. So far, the few cases of Ebola infected people have enjoyed intensive health care and antiviral and breathing assistance, but above all, with abundant human support by physicians. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what all it says, but I mean, it's sitting there talking about a pandemic, that these numbers are predicted as a result of thinking about a pandemic.
What would happen if there wasn't enough respirators?
And there's migration also in the bottom. They're going to say the U.S. is going to crash economically, and people are going to, like David was saying.
Yeah, it says economy, demographic crisis. It's describing things pretty bluntly.
Right. So in 2014, there is a news independent reporter called it's under his website is voxnews.com, and I have the playlist. Oh, I didn't guys tell you the app has coronavirus. If you go to the web, there's a coronavirus button, which is an ever-evolving list for anybody that wants to get a shortcut to all the good videos that they're being added every day. So if you're looking for good content, but will
my Norton antivirus block that virus, Sharon or David?
No, it's all right.
Okay.
By the end of that paragraph, though, Karen, real quick, it says, by the way, no pandemic or nuclear war is included in the forecast.
What?
What?
So in 2014, this guy reported about this Rockefeller plan. He actually has the plan. I actually have the PDF of it, and it talks about exactly what's going on now, but with Ebola, and how when the population starts uprising, think about all the riots that all of the protests that are going on around the world, that they will use this pandemic to separate everybody and stop the rising up. It's exactly what's going on now. So my thought is they tried it with Ebola, but everybody said malarkey, and it didn't work, so they delayed it 10 more years, or however many more years it was.
Right. So it's just to enforce control of the government because people are starting to call their bullshit and organize.
Yeah, I mean, think about the protests that were going on in Europe and all over the world, and starting over here. There was a lot of the natives were uprising, and they stopped us, and we all did it willingly. We all put our hands in our pockets and went home. Not all of us.
You guys, there's another paragraph further down in there that I just read that should be read. Over the past 2,000 years, we have witnessed the Western civilization built around the Mediterranean Sea, shifting to Northern Europe, and then by the mid-20th century, shifting to an Atlantic axis to finally get centered into the States in the past 30 years. The next move will see the civilization being centered in Asia, with Russia and China on top. Historically, a change in the economic paradigm has resulted in a death toll that is rarely highlighted by mainstream historians. When the transition from rural areas to large cities happened in Europe, many people unable to accept the new paradigm killed themselves. They killed themselves by a psychological factor. This is not mainstream, but it is true. A new crisis joins old, well-known patterns with new ones.
Wow. So these resets. Well, this is still Deagle. I mean, I don't know who the author is unless, Jeran, you figured that out.
Did they say anything? Did they say anything at the end?
I tried looking up on who is, but I don't
see. That's the second to the last paragraph. It just says, sorry to disappoint many of you with our forecast. It is getting worse and worse every year since the beginning of the pre-crisis in 2007. It is already said that this website is nonprofit, built on spare time, and we provide our information and services as is without further explanations and or guarantees. We are not linked to any government in any way, shape, or form. We are not a death or satanic cult or arms dealers, as some BS is floating around the internet on this topic. Take into account that the forecast is nothing more than a model. Whether flawed or correct, it is not God's word or a magic device that allows us to see the future.
Wow. And what do we got here, David?
that's actually the Rockefeller report. Maybe you can share it. It's a lot to read, but it's what the Vox report was on, and basically he's just laying out this entire scenario that's happening now and saying that that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, page 18, I think, is the one that starts
There you go. Thanks, Rodrigo.
Pandemic. Pretty nasty and very, very, very similar to what's going on right now. Like just some details scrambled and stuff.
Oh yeah, this has been going around the web. Everybody's been doing videos on this.
Yeah, I've been reading this as well.
Okay, I just pasted it in the chat for everybody, so yeah, you guys can take a look at that.
So let me right now. So I live right near New York. I was driving in New York the other day, and you don't have to stop at red lights because there's no cars on the roads. I mean, literally, I could see for 30 blocks up, 30 blocks down, and there's 2 cars. That was on Friday. So they're building all of these emergency overflow hospitals. Javits Center, they got 1,000 beds in there. But people are going around. You guys have seen the videos of people going to the hospitals. One of the hospitals that they said is overrun. Guy went there. There's 0 people. There's nobody in line. There's nothing. They have a whole big like concert gateway, like snaking path for people, but there's no one in that path. So the mainstream media is reporting. And then you watch that video. YouTube pops up a mainstream, Lester, what's his name on CNN video, but they're doing an interview with people in this line. So there's this line, people are 10 feet apart in the line. So you can only see maybe 10 people, but they make it sound like it's a long line. And they're like, people have been waiting 3 to 4 hours. So they're interviewing a guy by phone on the line while they're filming him, who's been in the line for 3 hours. He has to have the test because he's so sick. Never coughed once. Voice sounds stronger than mine. He just like answering questions. He's been in line for 4 hours and he's fine. When you have the flu, just a mild flu, you're not standing in line for 4 hours.
No.
and then the other thing is they go in the video, they show these 2 gay guys, and they're very healthy, great shape, mid 30s, probably 30s or 40s, and they're like one of them died 4 hours after he was diagnosed. What? Okay, so he doesn't know he's sick. He gets diagnosed and dies 4 hours later. What is the chain of events that happened during that? I mean, he could have gotten stabbed at the same time he was diagnosed and lived longer.
Right. What the heck?
Just to bring up something really interesting now, I found that Metabunk did an article about this article, the deagle.com. So I'm reading through the thread a little bit, and then I see somebody found the owner of the website, whose name is Edwin Deagle. Then they did a Google search, and they found a military major by that name. His name is Edwin A. Deagle, Ph.D. He's the Director of International Relations at the Rockefeller Foundation.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
That's what it says.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
And he wrote a foreword to some book where he's kind of talking about the same kind of thing. But yeah, it says Edwin A. Deagle, Jr., Ph.D., Director, International Relations, the Rockefeller Foundation. That's
if anyone can't see that this is a pandemic, okay, whether you believe it's real or not, it doesn't matter because the outcome is the same. It's not real, okay? When you call these hospitals and find out what their patient inventory is, it's lower than it was last year. Okay, how many people on ventilators? One. The word ventilator and ventilators. I can't talk. Shortage is just mind control. They just keep saying ventilators.
You know what? It makes people feel they're getting asphyxiated. Because I have someone in my family who's saying, I fear to death to be asphyxiated. I hate it. I don't want it. And that keeps them in that state, right? And the asphyxiators seem to be, this very scary story that once you get this thing, you cannot breathe anymore, and they have to immediately put the tube down your throat, which nobody wants.
Right, and everybody that got it in Wuhan at the beginning was convulsing. Here, we're asymptomatic. They tell us this has got everyone panicked that you can carry it for 27 days without showing any symptoms. So now, when somebody sees you, they go, "Oh, you look healthy. You must be carrying it." I mean, that is the mind control they have. And let me tell you something: you can't believe that if you have any sense in your head. And it's all goes back to the globe deception. It does, because if you don't know who you are, where you're standing, if you don't have your feet on the ground, you can be fooled into anything. And case in point, this entire pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely true.
Yeah, and I mean, at least we called the bullshit immediately, right? It's not like we've been fooled for a second. I mean, we don't know exactly what's the end game and many different things, but we caught on to it right away.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and not only that, as Spacebusters, pointed out in their outstanding 4-part series, which I hope everybody has seen, because if you haven't, you really need to. But there is an absolute connection between these so-called, coronavirus symptoms and 5G, specifically the 60 gigahertz 5G. I mean, there is so much. People have been absolutely inundating me with science papers like this from like Science Direct, effects of electromagnetic fields exposure on the antioxidant defense systems, essentially how specifically at 60 gigahertz, the oxygen molecules are absorbing the 5G completely, and then stopping the hemoglobin from, essentially giving the muscle groups, major organs, everything, oxygen, right? I mean, this is not, fringe science. This is actually all over the place in mainstream articles. No, it's not theory. It's reality. And, this is the reason why. Oh, go ahead, Rodrigo.
It's crazy. It's just reminding me when you're speaking about this. It brought to mind the image of the Death Star in Star Wars.
Yeah, right.
Because it's like sucking your hemoglobin, like destroying your blood, essentially. Like, how could something like this even be tested? Should be totally destroyed, right? Should be forbidden.
Yeah, it absolutely should be. And it's just been completely overrun. And in fact, I had an article earlier that the FCC has stated that they're simply not going to do any analysis for any risk to humans on it. It's like, what? You have literally tens of thousands of scientists that are petitioning and, telling the World Health Organization and all of these countries, it's like, do not. I mean, RF is deleterious to human tissue anyway. We knew that. But like I said before, the thing that really surprised the hell out of me is when it gets to 60 gigahertz, it's really lethal.
It's venom, essentially.
Yeah.
Or worse.
And the thing is that they always use different techniques. So they may have used it. Looks like they used it in Wuhan to make some patients and scare the crap out of people. It looks like they used it in Italy, where the areas where the hardest hit were the areas that rolled out 5G at the same time, just after Wuhan did. And then they have other areas where there's hotspots where there isn't 5G. But again, that's like New York, but there's no patients. But when you say there's no patients, there's the same number of patients, perhaps even less in some hospital than there were last year at this time during flu and cold season. And then the reason that the numbers are going up is the CDC admits that 50 to 80% of the tests come back with a false positive, but they're getting more and more tests out. So if you have that rate of false positives plus positive tests, because I had the flu this winter, so I'll test positive even though I'm healthy. The more people they test, the faster the numbers rise. So they're rolling out tests exponentially, and the numbers are rising. Gee, how could that be?
Did you see the Mossad tests? Those are reliable.
Yeah. Who posted those? Yeah, somebody posted those this morning.
Karen.
Karen. And also Steve from Spacebusters sent me this. This is kind of interesting, but this is a $799 product that supposedly eliminates the effects of 5G. And I'm not exactly sure how they work. There is a description of it, so I'm going to have to look that over. But it's interesting that people are at least coming out with stuff like this. But it says it's an active EMF protection technology designed to protect users from the health effects of man-made electromagnetic fields from mobile phones, smart meters, Wi-Fi, 3G, 4G, 5G, and all other sources of EMF. So, this may be something to look into.
Definitely. I mean, If it wasn't, they should make a promotion, flat Earth promotion. $200, you'll sell hundreds of thousands of these things.
Yeah. Well, before I recommend it, I want to look into it a little bit more. But
Yeah, there could be so many things out there that are going to come out that are just not what they're saying they are.
Right.
yeah, because I mean, I don't know exactly how an active device would do that. I mean, shielding, obviously, the best thing you could do is put yourself inside of a Faraday cage.
Right.
You said that you had some ideas, Bob, right, about this? How do you shield?
Sophia Smallstorm did her house. She or did most of her house. I know she did her bedroom with shielding paint. It's this black paint that you put down, and then it's grounded. You have to ground the paint to the earth with a direct line into the earth, and then you paint over it. And she has a tester, and her EMF went from a fairly high rating to 0.
Yeah, and things like that may be a
what is the
really
paint?
excellent. Well, was it a lead-based paint, David?
It very well might be lead-based. I'm not sure. Lead, copper. I'm not sure what it was, but it
Isn't that
worked.
dangerous?
on
Lead
that.
base. Can you find that?
Yeah,
I thought it was
or
prohibited.
is it dangerous, or are they just doing that because they knew, and they don't
Yeah,
want people
so-
doing that?
Right.
Nobody ate lead-based paint and got it wasn't happening.
Mhm.
That was another scam.
Yeah, just like everything else, right? So, that almost tells me right there that she's on the right track. If they tell you it's bad, then it's probably good, and it's probably the right thing to do. Just like everything else. But yeah, I mean, that seems like very, this, I don't know, this may have something to it. And I know Steve is in the chat right now. And hey, Steve, if you want to join us, let me know. I can certainly add you if you want to join us.
Ghostbusters, Steve?
Spacebuster Steve, yeah.
Spacebusters. Steve, can you make a playlist with 1 through 4? Because I didn't see it on your channel, and then share that because I've been trying to share it. I just don't know.
It's
how to
on
get a
BitChute, huh?
playlist. Is there a playlist of 1 through 4?
I don't know. I know it's
There
on
might be. We
BitChute,
could
all
make
the
one,
4.
or I was thinking about but just putting all 4 of them together and, compositing them into one.
Oh, there you go. That's a good idea.
Yeah, it'd only be a couple hours long, so maybe 4 hours long.
Yeah.
Let's see, that one's an
The
hour.
problem with that is we'll all watch that 1 through 4. The people that need to watch it that don't understand will go, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's longer than 5 minutes. I can't do it."
I know. Well,
Mhm.
yeah,
That's done by design. They've really trained us, with the news, short clips, mesmerizing, endorphins, dopamine, pulsing. That's what people need to feel normal. And when you try to take away their fear, they subconsciously fight back, knowing that if they realize that this entire pandemic is not real, the effects are real. That's what you should be scared of. Then they lose that fear-based rush in their body.
That's why David's entire channel is filled with 45-second videos.
It's exactly why. And I'm a victim of it too. I didn't watch anything long, but when you wake up to the Globe Deception, everything goes away. You're willing to watch a 5-hour video, a 10-hour video.
You have to, I guess, because there's no other way. You need to get through the nitty-gritty. And that it's a whole change in the quality of your reading, right? That's what you're saying, because you grow up, you grow up in a system where everything's just bits and bytes and cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha, and suddenly you're given, the truth about something that's so beyond all you've been told, and now you need to sit and go through.
It's the Twitter mentality. That's what I call it. They've trained us. If it's how many characters go on Twitter, but anything longer than that is beyond the attention span of the average non-bear.
Because it's so easy.
And the younger, the worse.
Yeah. So easy to convince people with just those short little clips. And that's how we were taught in school, right? That a teacher would stand in front of you and give you all the answers, and you just need to regurgitate them. And that's how you become knowledgeable. So
Yeah,
that's what
those
people
10
know.
best this and 10 best that, and the 10 things you need to know. And
10 reasons we know the Earth is a globe.
right.
Because time zones, idiots.
Circumnavigation, moron.
It would be day everywhere on the Earth. Don't you know the sun is
You
867
can see Mount
miles?
Everest from everywhere.
Oh,
can't-
man.
David from the United States. Dave, I can't see you, therefore the Earth's curved.
That's why we can't see each other.
Right. Otherwise, I'd be able to see your big head over there.
Thanks.
That's right. So, Steve, if you're out there, I did add you to the call group. Just join under your Skype account, and you can join us. So, yeah, and I'll put these 4 together, or maybe just make a playlist or whatever. But I'm sure there probably is one somewhere. Oh, it's BitChute. How do you make a BitChute playlist? I don't even know. I
Yeah,
don't know that much about
and
BitChute.
I don't even know how to download off of BitChute. Is there a way to do it?
Oh, I can
I
There's
download.
downloaded them off of BitChute.
Okay,
Yeah.
just again with my short attention span, I didn't look long enough.
It takes
It
longer.
has a torrent kind of thing, even.
Yeah, there's a program that Jeran and I both use that is called All My Tube. This is it right here, and it works really well.
It is.
Bob, do you have a BitChute account?
I think so.
All right.
Will it take BitChute addresses, Bob? Have you ever tried to BitChute?
Yes, yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
it will. You bet
Beautiful.
it will. Well, let's
What
do
is
one
this?
right now.
it's
It's
I didn't
called
even
All My
use that.
Tube.
I just searched download BitChute video, and I found a web client that does it, and I got all the videos very easily.
Yeah,
All
the
right.
Sacrifice Tube. Bob gave me a code for it a while ago, and you just paste the URL right in there, and it downloads right to whatever. You can tell it to download to a certain file. Even I have it download to my auxiliary, drive.
Yep, just like that, it's downloaded.
Now it's done. He's got it. It's downloaded.
So,
Hey
yeah.
guys, real quick on that subject of fear and it just being really addictive. I mean, before I ever got into flat earth, I was studying the brain and how it responds to hyper edited TV and also the violent video games that kids these days are addicted to. It's not entertainment. They'll sit down for 15, 20 minutes, but you look at them 6 months later, a year later, they have to play that game for 4 to 6 hours to get the same beta endorphin high. And that is very addicting. So it just breaks my heart when people in the flat earth community let their kids play these super violent video games. It's the same thing when people come back from war and they have PTSD. What that is the brain has been under such a state of immense stress that the memory centers, the speech production, all that stuff shuts down and you go into fight or flight for 6 months. Now, the body's not designed to be in fight or flight for that long because in nature, when you see a lion, I mean, you're either running or killing a lion in 30 seconds to 5 minutes, and that's it, and it's over. But when they keep you in these constant states of induced stress and media propagated fear, people do get very addicted to it. It has a psychological effect, but it also has a biochemical effect too on us because our body responds to fear.
Oh yeah.
And the more I study that, the more it's just mind blowing. So didn't mean to rant there.
No, but you're right.
Right, and everybody who's sitting home watching the news, it's the same thing. I mean, how can they feel anything other than overwhelmed with nonsense and fear? There's no choice unless you turn the box off, and
Right.
aren't going to do that.
And if you look at the news today, if you took, even before this crisis, just take 20 minutes of the news, even 5 minutes, and show it to somebody back in 1970, they would probably kill themselves for what happened to the world. They'd flip out. And then if you showed them a real horror movie from from today, they would probably never recover. But
kidding.
We go back and watch The Exorcist now. I'll show that to my 5-year-old. Because
but I you know what, David, I'm not so sure about this because I just watched the Clockwork Orange, and even though I wouldn't watch it, I felt queasy watching it.
Yeah, right.
It was,
but that's us. That's us. The average person. People that are locked in their homes right now watching CNN and Fox all day long are being dosed with this fear all day long, and they don't even know it. And when you threaten to take that dose away from them by giving them knowledge, they will reject it subconsciously.
Yeah, I seen exactly what you said in terms of people not being able to concentrate so many times recently when I tried to warn them about the situation. Just basically not telling me you speak too fast or you're telling me too much, I can't follow, or I'm lost,
Hey, did I just hear
Yeah,
Steven?
I think
call
Steve,
that
who's
mild cognitive. Steve, you there? Sorry, guys.
there's some
Yeah, I think I'm here. Am I
Yeah,
in?
you have some feedback
Quite loud.
coming in, Steve. So
Yeah, hold on. Let me. Sorry.
I was wondering where that was coming from.
It's me. Sorry about that. I'm normally we do this at Ross's. So how are y'all? Thanks.
Doing good, sir. So yeah, we were just looking at that electromagnetic guard thing that you sent me. And did you say that Amanda did some research on it, or do we have any update on that?
No, it was actually another friend of mine sent it and asked me if it's any good, and I said I'd ask you because I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, and I've got to look at the theory of operation and how it works because I honestly don't know. But I know that they did put it in there, but I briefly skimmed it, but I did not look at it in depth. But I certainly will because that's super interesting. It'd be a lot easier having a little device like that than having to, cover your whole house in tinfoil, right?
Well, yeah, I got a little nervous because some of it said it pulses every so many seconds, and I thought, well, that sounds like a smart meter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, it has to do something. I guess the idea is probably uses some frequency to counter the frequency or to raise it, or who knows if it's
something like that. It's pulsing out something, and I don't know if it's detecting something and then doing a counter transmission. I don't know. I honestly don't know how it works, but I will definitely.
Could you figure it out?
into
Like if you had it, would you figure out would you open it up, kind of thing?
Well, no, they give you a theory of operation on it, so that's something I can certainly check into.
Mm-hmm. Well, if they were to roll this like 5G out, and then people start to see like all kinds of crazy health side effects, obviously people will be like, "Whoa, this is retarded." So, do you think they would think, well, we already would be too dependent on the new 5G dependent system at that point to actually like change it?
Well, I think Wuhan is a good example already. I mean, they were one of the first major. I mean, I know Houston said they rolled out 5G, but it wasn't specifically the 60 gigahertz 5G, and it was Wuhan was, I think, the first country in the world, or first city in the world, excuse me, that did it with all 60 gigahertz. So you would think, and of course they're downplaying that completely, which to me speaks volumes.
That guy you have on the screen there, Professor Bhakti from Germany. That's a really good video. Yeah, that guy there, I think he might be Japanese, but he's a German physician. And in that video, what he's saying is the same. He believes in flying protein germs and all that, but he's saying northern Italy is the most polluted place in Europe, just like Wuhan is in China. And he's talking a lot about, viruses are no big deal unless you're already suffering from lung disease from massive pollution. And he himself is saying it's a shame what the German government's saying. He's saying they are making way too big a deal out of this. And he's even a mainstream, he believes you can catch viruses. And he's saying they're in everybody. But, even the mainstream people who believe germ theory are saying this is a crock. It's a crock. It's being way overblown.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people have seen this.
So I don't know. Your show is blowing me away. By the way, it's really, really good. My personal take on all this is that, as we've talked about before, when you go back to the Lord Milner Group and Cecil Rhodes Foundation, a lot of this comes out of the late 1800s. They had the Pilgrim Group or the Rockefellers and Lord Pierbright, who's a Rothschild, which is this kinetic, kinetech people call it kinetic, QINETIQ, which is the Pierbright Institute, who really actually owns the corona vaccine we talked about in our films. It's not Bill Gates as the major owner. It turns out it's the Pierbright Institute is this kinetech, which goes back to Lord Pierbright.
Is that what it is? They patented it and created it, or?
Well, it was patented in 2015 by the Pierbright Institute, which is part Bill Gates. We got that in our film right, but what I got wrong is the Pierbright Institute goes back to a Rothschild called Lord Pierbright, who was back with Lord Milner and Cecil Rhodes, the Round Table, where all of these Council on Foreign Relations, Royal Institute of International Affairs, all of these groups everyone speaks about, the Pilgrim Group, which is the Rockefellers. And my take on it, which is just my theory, and it's not right or wrong, but I kind of wonder, where did these guys get the money and by the 1880s, I'm wondering if something happened with these grand solar minimum resets in the 1600s and 1800 Dalton minimums. I'm wondering if they're making 200-year plans because they know there's going to be food shortages, new weather systems. Maybe North Africa is going to be the new growing site, China and Russia. You know, as you guys were just reading, I can't remember where you got that from, but you were saying they said that, was that Deagle still as well, where China and Russia will be the new.
Yep, Deagle.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the only reason you would want this control system in a 200-year plan is maybe they know something like this is going to happen that has natural causes, and they really want to control the outcome or the transition through this. What do you guys think?
I think that's entirely possible. And I obviously they know a lot more about this than they have ever told any of us, and are planning accordingly, you know, for it. So that to me sounds very reasonable. That they're actually planning for this. And
yeah, that would be logical if especially if it would mess up vegetation, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, how do you piece together the part that tells you for sure that these solar minimums have led to precisely the events that people are claiming? You know, how's that pieced together exactly, so we can be sure that those events are happening? And that they're about to come, and you know, who knows about this exactly? This is what I would go.
That's correct. I mean, to be honest, when the film series we did on it, I was looking at maps, and we know cartography is copied and also delayed. So you actually don't know if you see a map from 1800 when was that last scouted. But even
and how they actually drew that, right? With their technology.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's that too. I mean, how did you map out the Amazon River basin in detail?
Yeah.
You can't even get down it today.
Yeah, imagine if you're walking it, right? And you're like, okay, here's my map, and you're drawing it by hand. No, it's and
Yeah,
that
I mean,
changes too. Yeah, that one, the Amazon River is always changing, actually. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, if people, the sites that I follow are electroverse.net, David Dubine, DAP 2030, Ice Age Farmer, a guy called Christian. There's some good sites out there that, I mean, well, you can just look at the weather last winter and all the flooding. You know, you can see there's Saudi Arabia's getting flooding. It's snowing in parts of the Middle East that hasn't happened in 100 years. So something's going on. I don't know about these magnetic fields, where they get this information, if they make it up, or, you know, satellites is something we won't really get into. But I don't know if this is all fiction or if there is real science behind any of this. They claim the jet streams are no longer sort of diagonal going around the disk, but they're almost vertical now from north to south, if you know what I mean, or inside out the record ring, if you want to do it on a flat Earth.
Something's changing. That was the thing that Bob noted the last time we talked about the sun arising, becoming spring earlier, or what's going on with that as well. So that might be related to this, right?
well, yeah, and I looked into that a little bit more. Of course, their excuse that they're saying is that it has something to do with all the leap years, you know, consolidating, and therefore now spring all of a sudden, which is typically on the 21st, then occurred on the 19th. But on the East Coast, David, did I hear you say that on the East Coast it was like occurred even 3 or 4 days earlier than that?
I got that from Crow, so Crow's the one that figured that out.
East Coast equinox for me was March 16th.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, and
so the getting to the comment on, is something else going to happen? That, you know, we know about all of the CEOs that have stepped down in the last 6 months. It's an insane number. Now, is this a financial move, or are they bugging out, you know, going to New Zealand or wherever?
What's going on there? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
or is it the Q story that they're catching the elites, the pedovores?
It could be, but yeah, no, I've seen that the elites or CEOs are resigning all over the place.
Yeah, but we don't have any proof of anybody being arrested. So were they arrested, or did they get a heads up and they all head for the hills?
Well, that's exactly right. It's a very convenient cover story. either way. I think you won't know. That's there have been videos surfacing in England. There was a really disturbing one I saw where the neighbors saw the police came and take this guy out of his house 10 minutes earlier. And then 10 minutes later, 2 guys in white hazmat suits turned up, putting notes under everyone's door that he had died of coronavirus. And the woman's out her door filming him going, "How dare you? We just saw the police drag him out. We know he's alive." And the Q people would say he's a pedophile. And the other people would say he's a patriot.
Actually, I think in that video, I think she was talking about a homeless man because she was talking about how she feeds him. So it wasn't even, it was just a homeless man on the street, like they're dragging him away. So what is he going to be, one of their fake body counts, In
New York, they're saying that by this week, by midweek, the hospitals are going to be overrun, and the overflow hospitals are going to be overrun, and nobody can find any patients. But if you watch the news, you would think that they've run out of ventilators. They're not even using the small number that they have yet. And it's crazy, and I've suggested, Bob, I sent you that short little video. You don't have to show it, but that they're setting up these convention centers as command and control centers and beds for the soldiers to sleep. That's my theory. I have no proof of it, but that's what it looks like to me.
That's a really good theory. I would also keep. I live in Copenhagen, the Denmark socialist. We don't really have any homeless people, or not many, but any of you who live in big cities, I would start looking for the homeless to start disappearing if they haven't already.
Well, they've been talking about that already.
I kind of was wondering if they were building those big things. They're going to round up the homeless, give them these shots, and then that's the last we'll ever see of them again. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's kind of freaky, but no, people have been talking about that, and it's like, wow, where they've been saying, where are they going? Where are they relocating these homeless? But they're apparently coming them and arresting them, and then nobody ever sees them again. And it's like, is this? And as always, you have to ask yourself, is this real, or is this just some hyped up bullshit story?
Yeah, and you remember in the World War II, they would come to people's homes and take away people with disabilities, say that they were going to go for tests, and then they'll come up with a letter saying that they died out of pneumonia.
Yeah,
because
a lot of these stories are just to scare the crap out of people. I want to point out a video that came up today. I think it was on a channel called Crazy Videos. But it was tanks in armored vehicles in Manhattan, and they're like, the lockdown is here, and people are starting to freak out. And I looked at the video. The street is filled with people. This was years ago that this was filmed. Nobody has masks on. So just be discerning. When you see something that fits in with what you believe, just stop, look, think about it. And don't just run and share those videos because it's not good for anybody. So, do I believe that the armored vehicles will be in Manhattan? I probably, if I had to bet on it, I would say it's coming if they keep pushing this narrative. But the video that went out today that's getting spread around is from a long time ago. So just be careful.
I was going to say that earlier when you guys were talking about Project Zephyr, Bob. The guy, there's a channel called, I think it's Lift the Veil.
Oh yeah, I know him.
I don't know anything about him, but he did a video about that Friends of David Goldberg. And what he did is he went into is that Google Time Machine where you can see when stuff happens to a website.
Yeah, the Wayback Machine, archive.org.
Is that what I'm not a techie, but basically what he saw was the people who made that Friends of David Goldberg website. The articles that were supposedly from years before were put on later after it was made. So his contention is it was some kind of psyop as well, that it's to scare the hell out of you to think you better shut up or they're going to come around in the dead of night with psychotronic weapons and put you in a cage for 1,000 years in a deep underground military base and harvest your organs and feed your fingers to without a doubt, it's got a lot of that element to it. It's got quite a lot of nonsense to it.
Yeah, and I would be lying if I say it didn't freak me out a little bit, because it's like Because it sounds reasonable, right? If I were calling the shots, right? If I was the one doing this, that's, one of the things I would definitely be on my agenda is to, who are the people causing dissension? Go hunt them down, right? But
Jesus, hopefully, I mean, we're lucky you're on our side, Bob. Holy shit.
I know. Well,
that is the problem is fear is the name of their weapon. So you guys are so right when you say be careful what you share, be careful what you fear. The fear of them doing something like that is much worse than the logistical odds that they could even pull that off. Fear can disable 1,000 people who think it's going to happen to them, whereas taking someone away and putting them down there disables one person.
I say, come get me.
Yeah.
Same. When I heard that, I was like, wow, I've been on the Grabbler hit list then. They've been monitoring what we've been watching, consuming, and talking about. Well, that's a wrap.
There's no way out now.
Didn't change anything for me.
That's crazy. All right, guys. So what do you guys think? You want to take some phone calls?
Sure.
Yeah, I would love to hear people's thoughts or ideas, or maybe they have some updates from where they're at, or anything.
Okay.
Anyone been to? How many of us have been to hospitals to check out the situation, the crowds?
Oh, there's been a lot of people reporting empty hospitals. If anybody's been watching me and Brian's streams that we've been doing, we've got a lot. Mac Flat Earth Fokker's gone to like 5 hospitals in Vancouver, all empty. Seattle hospitals are empty. Ireland hospitals are empty. In Louisiana, and there's just more and more people from all over the country because we put out our email address and we were telling people to go check the hospitals, and a bunch of people have been going out and looking at these tents and recording and showing that there is literally nobody there.
It's like here is also like that.
I would also like to hear if any of the callers I've seen quite a few videos now of people driving to the local schools while we're in lockdown, and there are police and 5G installation crews there.
I haven't.
Have you seen any of this?
I saw a video about this guy approaching these cops in civilian clothing about it. Is that what you're talking about?
I've seen
there's like white trucks at the schools while everything's closed, and they're putting in 5G, and these parents or the people turn up in their car. They ask them, "Hey, what are you doing here?" "Oh, we're putting in this, that," and they say, "Is this 5G?" And they say, "Yeah." And Ross, the other guy who does Space Busters with me, he was driving the other morning and saw them doing it, laying what seemed to be some kind of cabling system through the sewer systems just off the road. So I'm there's stories going around that while we're in lockdown, they're just putting up 5G while we're not out there to resist.
Keep in mind, they've been installing 5G long before this lockdown, and places are using it. Maybe that school was scheduled for it, and they're like, "Oh, here's our perfect opportunity. Let's roll it out while there's no kids there." I don't think that they did this lockdown to stick in the 5G. I think it's just rolling out, and they're taking advantage of the empty streets.
Yeah, that could be. I just wanted to hear your opinion because I haven't left my house much. So we've been in 3 weeks now, quarantine in Denmark. So
I saw another video where this guy walks up, approaches these cops that were looking at his license plate or something, and he's videotaping, asking them about like if they're putting in 5G, and the cop just refused to answer the question, and then got pissed about him taping them. So it was pretty crazy. They were sitting there like there were cops that were there while they were installing it.
Yeah, that's crazy. You guys saw that one too. They were acting very defensive, but he was also being a little affrontive as well. So
true. But they just refused to answer the 5G question from the beginning. It's kind of weird.
Hey, one more thing for people that are listening and that are trying to share this information with their friends and family who are sleeping. If you send them a single video that you want them to see and they watch it, the next one that's gonna come up is gonna debunk it. It's gonna be a mainstream media one. So create a playlist, or just go to my playlist, which is linked in the app and the web button, and pick a video from there and then forward it, and it'll forward them in the playlist of all the other videos. So
watch them in line, one after the other, right?
Yeah. So I've had somebody ask me like, "What do you think of this?" I said, "Here, watch this video." They ended up watching 10 videos in a row. and now their eyes are opening. So just just be careful. Just send it that way, because if you watch what pops up after you watch a random video, it's unbelievable. And meanwhile, while you're watching the video, no matter what it is, underneath it is the CDC COVID warning.
It's crazy. Anything has it nowadays. Every website has it. It's crazy.
Yeah, no
And
kidding.
now they tag all flat Earth videos with the flat Earth link to Wikipedia. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Yeah, I have. Yep. It's an archaic system of belief. Blah 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 blah.
It's listed under every flat Earth video. So if you put flat Earth anywhere in your tags or title, that'll be right below your show.
Well, I will say one thing about this whole coronavirus thing is it's definitely reduced the number of actual, flat Earth videos, because everybody's talking about, 5G and coronavirus.
Hello.
Yeah, right.
Not me.
Everyone's saying that that you're pretty egotistical, thinking that's the reason. Flat Earth Awakening opens your eyes to see through all this stuff, because you're grounded and it really opens your eyes more than most of us realize. So it is getting to the point where we're getting close to a tipping point, and they can't have that. So is that the reason they're doing this? Is all of a sudden, did they see this coming? Did they know exactly when we were going to get to this point? And they it's now. Who knows? But
that and the oil war and the financial bubble that was collapsing. I think you're right. There was a lot of things going on right now, politically and financially, and spiritually, as you're saying with Flat Earth, where this is the time, But as we saw before with the Dean Koontz thing, I think they had this COVID thing planned. The Purebright and QAnon is Quintech. I think they had this plan since the 80s at least, and I don't know that it's on purpose that the financial collapse was orchestrated for now, or if that is a coincidence, all these things came to a head. I doubt they purposely released Flat Earth. I don't think I think that shouldn't have really been stumbled upon so soon, but I'm kind of wondering if right now it just, like you're saying, this is the perfect way to shut everybody up and get all the protesters off the streets everywhere. There were revolutions almost in every city, which they normally want, but I don't think it was going the way they wanted it to.
Right.
Yeah,
And
but
separate us,
trade those.
lower our collective power, just keeping us separated is lowering the force, period. I'll say it.
I agree. So,
my opinion is the best way to get us is to actually reveal some of these things people were going to wake up to anyway, and try to absorb absorb and manage the opposition. Is the best way to lead it, and then they come in and bring us solutions.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they can stop the whole thing. I think they can only slow it down, and I think it might be a shot in the foot, because so a lot of people are not falling in for the fear, and they are pissed off that they're losing money and they're wasting time, and maybe they're gonna start thinking about whether if hopefully my best hope is that a lot of people realize this was a hoax, and that can be a massive shot in the foot. Yeah. Because then they lose their fear trump card.
Yeah, there's also I've heard a few theories which sound really nice. I think it's really nice because if you can believe in either a really bad outcome or even the QAnon people who want the hope, and why not believe in the one with the good ending or the better ending? Why not? You can't do anything really about it anyway. So I don't really blame people who think the white hats are coming on the golden cloud to save the day. If they don't, they don't. But if they
Q's not real?
Yeah.
I actually think that's the more tactically efficient way, though, if you look at it from their position, is to coax compliance. It's much less messy that way.
I'm pretty convinced.
What if there's a division at the top? Maybe there's a division at the top right now where some of these elites want this. They want to drain all the treasuries and put the Agenda 21 lockdown. And there might be some elites where this is not really beneficial to them right now, even way at the top echelons. You know what I'm saying? So there might be something like that going on where they might be having a little bit of a schism themselves, because it's kind of weird with Trump. It seems like they're against him, actually. And you say, well, that could be part of the plan to make it look that way. But maybe there really is a division. And some of them are saying, hey, our bloodline is leeching off these slave humans, these farm slaves, and you're going to crash the whole damn thing. They're taking out the gravy train. And there might be elites who are saying, we're not ready to lose the gravy train yet. You know what I mean? What does that sound like to you guys?
I think it's definitely all very orchestrated, and Trump's probably playing his role, and they're going to give you the illusion of draining some of these dispensable on the world stage influencers like celebrities and politicians, etc. So you would be appeased and think corruption, the draining of the swamp is happening, and then you'll just blindly trust whatever solution they offer you.
Right. Later, you'll be thanking them for dozens of years, which is similar to what Augustus did in Rome. With this kind of fake peace that he creates, known in Roman history, when with the fall of the Republic and the coming of empire, he brought peace, right? But it was just like a dictatorship.
And if you listen to the dude that claims to be Q, I mean, he straight up says, dude, he straight up shows the cards. He's like, yeah, we want quantum internet worldwide. A consolidation of it in the military to control it, an institution, or implement a internet constitutional bill of rights, if you will, and the military enforces it. Quantum internet, So I mean,
one currency and meltdown of all other currencies, right? The forgiving of all debt.
Exactly.
I think Q is kinetic. If you want, you can pull up a website. There's even 2 Q's in it. Kinetic. Kinetiq.
Kinetic.
Yeah, but it's spelled with Q's instead of a K in it. So it's kinetic. Qinetiq.
QINETIQ. QIN.
No U. QIN.
Okay.
So it's like kinetic, yeah.
Kinetic.
This is them. Now, this is the Pierbright Institute. They're in England, and this is owned by Lord Pierbright. Started this back in the day. He's a Rothschild. And the Queen owns this as well. And these are the people who own the COVID-19 patent vaccine. They also do satellite. They do military intelligence, satellite. See these guys? Look at this. I think this is QAnon.
Interesting.
Well, the guy that came out, he claimed to be DIA, right? And from my understanding, you can't claim to be a federal agent of especially not with any specificity, and that not be true. That's a federal crime, right?
Well, Kinetech's sister company in America is called Serco. Have you ever heard of them? They own all the private prisons and what are they called? 4G. What's that security company?
Actually, this is very interesting because the dude says they do contract out quite a bit to the DIA. That's like their main way of working.
Yeah. These guys are with Serco. They're definitely with British intelligence, CIA. These are the big players here. I believe, and I believe the Queen is also involved in this. And there's too many Q's. Queen. Who the hell spells kinetic with 2 Q's? Right. And they happen to be British intelligence. They're into vaccines. They're into military. The Pierbright, Lord Pierbright, who was a Rothschild, was in with Lord Alfred Milner and Cecil Rhodes, who's wanted to start a one world government. This whole
transhumanist clans that go back to the time of Darwin or earlier, of course, but they took over the so-called scientific establishment from that time on.
And these guys, if you start looking in, there's some good videos. There's some great guys who have done a lot of videos. Just do some looking into this company. Even, I'm not saying it is QAnon. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying, have a look at this company deeper. And there are some good videos and articles out there who have already dug into this. And it's not too large on top. There seems to be an underground layer. You can't get any communications where they're at. This is something very whatever you might call deep state. This is as deep state as it gets for British intelligence. This place right here. So people really want to start doing some research on these people here. There's something wrong here, seriously.
So that's surveillance, defense, control, gadgets, total transhuman sort of science fiction rollout.
The problem with this Q stuff, people. I had somebody say to me, I'm not going to name names, but somebody said to me, Q isn't the government, it's military. And I'm like, hello, Military is government.
Right.
Okay, listen, it's so foolish to put your faith in groups headed up by people. You don't know who's leading this up. You don't know where this is coming from. And then you want to put all your faith into an unknown group. It's just so completely naive to me. I can't believe that people do it.
I think
we're putting your faith in this kid, Austin Steinbart.
Well, look at Hitler. The example, I know I'm not trying to compare Trump to Hitler, but look at Hitler. Okay, back then the Germans, they loved Hitler. They were like, Hitler is great. He's going to make Germany great, right? And then what happened? This whole thing came through with the Holocaust and all that. And whether or not you believe it happened the way it happened or not, to this day, nobody knows if Hitler was really a good guy or supposedly a bad guy. There were all those rumors going around about whether Hitler was a Rothschild and that when he was supposedly, arrested, he was just put in a mansion or whatever. So nobody knows what happened. But either way, his role played a part in furthering the agenda. It all played a part. That thing surrounding Hitler and the character of Hitler played a huge role in shaping the way that people view the world. So you can't put your faith in these figures and just say, yeah, they're going to save us, because you don't know what's behind them. You don't know who backs them. You don't know what their agenda is. We don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking
98%, right? Sorry.
No. I was just gonna say I was thinking about this question because you said that the other day, Karen. I was wondering, when I watched the film by the Dutch researcher on the Q theory and whatnot, and I think it is the will of revenge on the adrenochrome monsters. I think that's what makes people hang on to this, because the monstrosity is so extreme. If you have one story that tells you they're gonna get them, that's your best story.
Right. That's what it was with Hitler. That's actually a great correlation if you think about it, because 98% of people voted for him. He was on like Person of the Year, magazine cover. So he came in exposing some of the criminality and the corruption, the degradation, and promised to out that. And then of course that appears to have gone south from what we know. We don't know much about it, but it's hard to get.
For me, the weirdest thing with, and I'm not saying Q is good or bad. I know there's a lot of people listening who are really into it. I'm not here to like ruin anyone's day or parade, but let me ask this. One of the things they're claiming, and I could red pill you guys on Kennedy family right now, but I'm not going to even go there. But one of the things they're saying is that this whole coronavirus is an excuse to do the lockdown so they can go in and arrest all the pedophiles in deep state and all these people. Now, I'm sorry. QAnon came out in 2017, 16, somewhere around there. It's been like 4 years. Underwear jockeys have decoded it by the thousands and hundreds of thousands, and this is what the Q means in this. But I'm sorry, but the NSA, CIA, FBI, MI5, MI6 have AI code breaking machines. They have the best code breakers in the world. Everything you've ever posted on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube is recorded by AI and red flagged with metadata. Are you telling me the deep state hasn't figured this out yet after 100,000 underwear jockeys posted the game plan on social media? Give me a break. They would have ran already by now.
Yeah, what they would say is, this was crafted by these Kabbalists a long time ago, and this is just being countered with the military coup to round the people up. But I will say, though, the Austin Steinbart thing, man, there's something weird about it because he's given a whole bunch of classified information. He seems to have some type of immunity. And so the way it looks to me is they're going to these people are dispensable to them. The celebrities, like politician fate, like figureheads, they don't care about those people. So, yeah, sure, you blackmailed them. They got a whole lot of stuff for it. Now you're going to just throw them out. Well, they're dispensable, and then people just buy into it, believe it, and they don't even get as much as they thought they were going to. They just are begging for any little thing now.
Yeah, and people probably aren't David Icke fans. I don't like a lot of what he says, but I did read his books back in the day, and he said that from the beginning. He said, these people will throw you under the bus no matter if you're the president or they don't care. They eat their own. And that is true. Like, yeah, if they need to give up a few high level, like you're saying, pedophiles and Hollywood people and even some executives and CEOs, they don't care.
Right.
Exactly.
There's no honor among thieves.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, but they have to appease the patriots too. The only way to get you to sit still and do nothing, right, is to say, see, we did it. Look at all these indictments and arrests, and look, where did he go? And look, we found an arrest record for him. You know, everyone's like, yeah, it's happening. So I still have to do nothing. And you're like, well, but no, maybe it's real. It could be real. I don't know. For all I know, they're rounding up all those people.
I think people up in the military do know about this type of alliance thing. It's under the executive branch, and the people carrying out a bunch of these orders to go round up a pedophile, for example, I think they think they're doing the right thing. I mean, they are right. They're going to get a pedophile. It's compartmentalization. Everyone doesn't know about it. Most of these military people are probably just going and getting bad guys, they think, but they don't know that the bigger plan here is to roll in some other save the plan solution or save the day plan.
Yeah, like they could break your door down, Austin, and say, you're a pedophile. And you're like, no, I'm not. You know, they wouldn't know. They'd just grab you and throw you in the truck.
Don't get your hopes up.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, I'm going to read out a few super chats, guys. Thanks for the super chats. So let me start.
Hey, before you do, Bob, I've got my kid here with me, so I'm going to sign off, actually, and say goodbye to y'all. I'll tune in later, but I'm going to drop off the chat and let y'all finish it.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Steve. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be listening. So thanks for inviting me on. It's been lovely, and I enjoy what I'll be listening again shortly.
Awesome. All right. See you later, man.
All right. See you.
All right. Cool. All right. So super chats. So Josh Horn, $2 to the Best Damn Sunday live show. Thank you, Josh, very much for that. We appreciate it. Then we got one from Robert Zafaris, who always is just an incredible supporter. We thank you so much, Robert, for that. Really appreciate it. Sherlock Bones throws us one without a comment also. Thank you so much for that, Sherlock Bones. Definitely appreciate the support. And then we got one from Emilios Mann, who says, love you all. We know something is going down. What it is NWO. Trial run? Well, a lot of people think that, Emilios. So
they're talking about it.
Yeah, it's a definite possibility. Then we got one from...
sorry.
Then we got one from G. Roche, who says, both my next door neighbor's parents died of natural causes and were added to the official stats in Ireland. Officially, that's not a surprise. They're padding them any way they can because, the coronavirus itself is nonsense. And then commercial sound and video, $20 super chat with nothing said, but thank you so much, commercial sound and video. Always a terrific supporter of the Globebusters, and we appreciate you very much. And lastly, we have Tom Jones, who says, would they need to use force to do anything? If they go to digital currency and martial law, they could turn off your digital wallet until you comply. Well, that's, kind of what the whole mark of the beast, kind of thing is, where you won't be able to buy or sell or do anything like that, if you accept that mark. So that's kind of in a way, I suppose, could be interpreted as that mark, right? As a chip. So
they're already numbered.
Eternal oath to humanity for the new age of prosperity, and they give you some free money.
Yeah, and we already tagged with these numbers of the beast, right? You have your social security number, or you're numbered. You're just a number in the bureaucracy in many ways. But I was going to say, on the Hitler stuff and the Man of the Year, and remember, the United States at that time was a racist country with segregation, just coming out of slavery, with a eugenic system totally installed in the United States, where they were medicalizing all kinds of people, force sterilization. There was a policy in the United States with their own people, right? Back in the day when Hitler was the hero, right? So, and also, we know that the doctors that were working with him were doing experiments with humans, torturing people. And these people ended up in South America doing horrible things. One of these guys, Mengele, was in Brazil, experimenting with twins and mind control. And all those techniques are just basically exported. They're contacting their own demons. They had the Vril Society, that trash. Those guys, I mean, if somebody just hears Hitler
that's
speaking,
playing with the same cards.
Oh, hey,
Here's Hiro.
Hello, everyone. Hello,
The
everyone.
Jesuits are behind everything, and it's true. Yeah, but the thing is, all I wanted to say is, like, if you see Hitler, wearing that uniform, and all those people, the brainwash, the patterning, and the way he speaks, and the whole thing, and if you're somehow attracted to it, you must have serious issues.
Hey, with
So-
the whole Jesuit thing, the supposed Q dude, he says, makes fun of Masons. He's like, your little 33 number games, your hooky spooky number games. And he's like, we have a number of our own, and says it's 17. I believe it was a probably Alexandra video I saw where she said that Jesuit training takes 17 years.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think I watched that just the other night again. I was blown away. It's like, wow, to get into that, upper level, it takes nearly 2 decades.
Right.
But-
So if you look at their oath and then look at the number 17 and Q saying, mocking the 33 of Masons, but saying 17, you look at light, dark, and their little esoteric belief system, it kind of gets crazy.
Yep, exactly. So thank you, Wake the Sheeple, for the super chat, who says, keep up the great work, boys and girls. Thank you so much for that, Michael. Appreciate it. So, Iru, have you been listening to the show? And if so, what do you think is going on behind this?
Well, I believe because I was covered this topic also in my Spanish channel, and I joined the show like 45 minutes ago because I was celebrating my birthday with my mother and my girlfriend. So at least, doing something special in these quarantines days. But what I think is very complex. For me, it's like a mix between, of course, they're going to, I don't believe there is any politicians out there that is a good, if you are really good politicians and you want to mess up with the powers, you're going to be killed immediately. For me, that's my opinion. Of course, I could be wrong.
I agree. Killed or discredited.
Yeah, poison. Like the popes, like John Paul I, for example, and even if you are in the same kind of mafia, I mean, it's not because if you are killed, it's because you want to change things for the better of humanity. No, it could be just simply as they have a plan, they have an agenda, and it doesn't matter if you are the son of a daughter of some high rank of this psychopath. You're gonna be, take apart, and if you don't agree, maybe you're gonna be dead. For me, there is no any politician that really wants to help humanity. If you want to help humanity, and you know that you're gonna be completely, in risk, you're gonna like doing something very quickly, very aggressive, trying to expose all these kind of psychopaths, and then, well, assume the consequence. Something like it's like this kind of idea of the ET, that they leave message, very secret message, but that they never appeared, once or all in front of the humanity, and leave the message. Sorry for my comparison, maybe it's a little idiotic comparison, but I mean, if you are really want to help humanity, you're gonna go out there and say, okay, this is the guys who is in power, I'm gonna be against these guys, this other, and blah 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 blah, and then assume the consequence. You can think, well, but if you do that, you're gonna bring chaos to your country or whatever. But that is always what happened. I believe that, for example, it's a very controversial topic when you talk about Hitler, because like you mentioned before, you have the idea that maybe he was against the elite in power, but at the same time he was financed by this elite. And I believe there is like a mix between that, because the elite always need to do something. They need to do something for real, and then trying to manipulate that reality. Because if you don't, or if you go very orchestrated from the beginning, maybe things doesn't take the path you want. So for me, at least that is my opinion, because here we have Peron, another president, which was a crux of Malta, and he was the only president that when he died, it cut off both hands.
Oh man.
And that is but that is a ritual. Except
Wow.
especially
Is it the
that
Templars? Is that what it is? The Malta?
It's
What?
Crux of,
Yeah.
of Malta.
It's a
He
Jesuit.
was not he. It's very controversial if he was or not a Freemason, but there isn't some records that he appears in the Crux of Malta. But at the same time, he was cut off the hands, and that is a ritual from the Freemasons and this elite that means that you betrayed the order. And I have, and it's sad because it's in Spanish, but I had video, it's online, of course. You have the videos, recording videos, when Perón said that we are the third position because we are not coming from the England, the Vatican, the Freemasons, the communists, and the capitalism. We are not in those two bands. We are the third position. What I'm trying to say is, I believe sometimes elite, trying to put in power people from their own business, but then because something changed inside, once these people get in power, they change, they change gears, and trying to maybe do their own agenda. And that is when maybe the things start to getting more complicated. Of course, in our days, I believe that you're going to be shut down immediately. Maybe there is not the kind of, we don't live in the same times that was after Second World War or things like that. And Hitler came to Argentina, and that is official. I mean, that's here in Argentina, we have a lot of military guys writing books about that. And he came here because Perón was a friend of Hitler. In fact, Argentina in the period of the Hitler was one of the 10 more rich countries, doing with a super big industry, even Albert. And this is that for us doesn't mean anything, but Albert Einstein came here to my city to give a lecture in university because all this connection that that president has here in Argentina. Of course, the history behind is much, much more complicated. Nobody found the body of Adolf Hitler and some other high ranks with him. The rest go to United States under the paperclip operation. I don't think that, for example, Werner von Braun works very happy with NASA. I believe he was like some kind of prisoner of war, living with privilege, of course, but maybe doing things that maybe you don't want to do.
He technically was a war criminal. I'm sorry, Jeran, go ahead.
Yeah.
I just said he had no choice. If he didn't go along with everything NASA said to do, they could try him and hang him. So
exactly.
He's
but
forced.
the only thing. Sorry, Shannon.
Go ahead. No.
No, but for just close the topic. For me, if you and I showed this kind of videos to Linda because I want to know if is because all the video from Hitler is in German, and so many people's you put other subtitles which are not the original text that supposedly must be there because it's in German, and a lot of people take advantage of that and start putting their own thinkings and change things. But I have a few videos where when you listen, at least when you listen Hitler, well, it has sense, because like Perón talks about the Freemasonry, the Vatican being in power, the Jesuit order being in power. You have Hitler's speech that talks clearly. He said, we're going to fight Jehovah. We're going to fight the Zionism. We're going to fight the bankers, things like that, which, at least in my opinion, is something that is at least in my way, something that I want to hear from other politicians. Give names, give real names, not doing all this speech that's trying to deviate, and everything is generic.
Yeah, exactly. Way too much generalization. I agree.
Exactly.
Yep.
Nobody gives names. Well, these people gives names. Of course, for me, Hitler was put in power for other objectives, like the creation of the UN, the giving territory again to Israel. You know, they use for other things. But at the end, if you paying attention to some of his speech, he talks about, for example, the gold standard. You know, the money based on gold standard. But at the same time, the gold industry, the minery industry, is coming from the elite, because nobody's gonna put a company to go into the mountains and take out the gold. So it's the same thing. The real, for example, the real money is based on the workers, not in gold and not in paper. In workers, the people that wake up in the 6 a.m. and go to the bed at 11 p.m. trying to get food, to sell in their own country. And I am not good speaking this in English, but I mean,
Okay.
it's very
And we need to move
controversial.
on a little bit too, Hero. So
Okay, so close that. For me, what is happening to now is economic collapse, a microchip based on vaccine, and the rest is the same thing that everything, always happen. It's like a cycling situation,
Yep, I agree. Okay. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and take some phone calls and see what the general public has to say. So mods, the call-in number, it's posted in the show notes, but it is 303-225-1019. So let me go ahead and activate the phone calls. We are ready to take calls. So if somebody wants to call in, give us a call, and we will talk to you. And forgive me if I'm a little slow on this. Might take a little bit. There's one. Here we go. Hello, you are on with Globebusters. Who we got?
My name is Jason. I'm from the Bay Area.
Hey, Jason. How you doing, man?
Doing well. Just listening to you guys. Been listening for the last 2 hours. It's just great stuff. I kind of agree with just my thoughts really quick on what Euro was finishing off with. Definitely a central bank digital currency is going to come up because of this threat of a virus that germs can be transmitted through the money. I've noticed some prettier skies, though. I've noticed less spraying in the skies. And the UN response, to me, I mean, this thing whole, like how 150 countries are all kind of banding together to defeat this thing. I think it's just a show of who's willing to comply, which nations are willing to comply, who's going to kind of move on because of this. Just wanted to throw my little 2 bits in there, man. You guys are awesome.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the call, and I appreciate it. And we'll talk to you later.
All right. Take care.
All right. Cheers. All right. So, his audio was a little bit down in the mud. Hopefully the next caller will not be that way. So the phones are open. Anybody wants to call in? So 303-225-1019.
Yeah, so he was saying that he thinks it's a kind of posturing by different countries that they are, testing each other through, who's complying, who's not complying. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people probably, people are talking about war coming in, and there's this rhetoric of war coming out of the presidents and stuff, the war against the virus, at least.
Yep, I agree.
But
all right,
how far does it go?
All right, how you doing? You're on with Globebusters. Who we got?
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Rasta Bear.
Hey, Rasta Bear, how you doing, man?
Oh, great. Yeah, just sitting here in Portland enjoying your guys' show.
Hey, Rasta Bear.
Awesome.
How y'all doing? It's good to hear you guys covering this part of the angle, because in my perspective of it, I really don't think that they care at this point if we know that it's real or a complete fraud. I think the bigger picture is this a precursor to something bigger?
Yeah.
And that's where I've looked into a few different angles. Like there's that Edgar Casey map, from back in the day that he's given out with the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a lot of, strategic movement of our military in places where that may line up.
Did he talk about California coming out as well? California breaking away or something? Is that Casey said that as well, right?
Yes. Yeah. And he did a lot of, remote viewing. and wrote several books, that a lot of people, definitely dive deep on. And so that's one angle. Also, in my mind, the paradise, the campfires really come into play. Anybody who, researched that type of stuff, and realized that those weren't normal. Yeah. And then to think that everyone's in their houses now, and if they did that on a grander scheme, then,
I so agree with you on that. I mean, I've thought exactly the same thing, because here would be the perfect opportunity, because obviously they don't want to destroy the big commercial sites. They want to maintain the downtowns, if you will, as much as possible. So what better way than to put people in their house, do this alien invasion, and then just basically do this annihilation of residential neighborhoods and claim it's some sort of a alien attack. I know that sounds crazy, but you know what? We all know what happened in California, right? That was absolutely a surgical strike, where the houses were taken out and even the foliage was left standing. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So crazy.
And so I've been definitely heading back to that thought a lot. Other than that, it looks like, if nothing else, they're preparing for some type of an invasion of whatever sorts, and that's one thing I've looked at. And also there's this, not knowing what meteors are exactly, but there's this one that's a blue light that's supposedly heading towards Earth now. It's called the C19 or C2019 is what it's called. And so
really?
I just thought that was quite the coincidence. And It kind of aligns, since it's a blue light, kind of aligns with the Hopi prophecy of the blue Kachina and the red Kachina.
Yeah. That's right.
But those are all, my comments. I'll let other people call in, because I know there's probably a lot of other people that want to get on.
All right. Well, sounds good. Well, thanks for the call, and I definitely agree with you on a lot of what you said there. So thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
Thanks, Rasta Bear.
Hey, you too. Yeah,
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Rasta Bear is cool. Another point about what he brought up too with the California fires, the language that they used after those fires, that they said that this is going to be the new normal. And now they're saying the same thing about the coronavirus and everybody having to practice social distancing and do these, rolling lockdowns where everybody stays inside the house. If, a certain number of people start getting admitted to the ERs over a certain number every week, and they call it the new normal. And they've said it about other things too. It's like they keep changing stuff, and they tell us this is the new normal. Okay, now everybody get used to this now. This is how it's going to be.
That's crazy. Okay, we have an international call coming in. Hello, you are on with the Globebusters. Who we got?
Thank you, sir. You got Robert.
Hey, Robert. How you doing?
Robert. I'm doing great, I think. I'm stuck in Vietnam here from Canada and listening to you guys live here. So, am I really on the air?
Yeah, you're really on the air.
Anyway, well, that's amazing. I watch you guys all the time in Canada, and I'm stuck in Vietnam here. I wanted to tell you guys, well, first of all, Jeran and Bob and Uru, I appreciate what you guys are all about. Yeah, I believe you've gone global. I'm global, and I wanted to tell you my appreciation for you guys. But I also want to tell you something about here in Vietnam, in this communist country. There is no such thing as social gathering here. I mean, everybody's playing soccer. There's no confinements. There's no lineups. There's lots of toilet paper, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's just not the same as it is in North America, New Zealand, Australia.
So there's no fear mongering or anything like that, huh?
But my question is,
no.
Does the news that's there try and push people into the fear, or is the news not talking about it as much? And maybe that's a product of the States.
Well, I've had some shitty encounters here about my visa and what have you, and I had to contact some Vietnamese people to talk for me. And I'm talking to them about their fear factor. They're not getting the news like we are. They seem to be 10 steps behind us. in everything. In every, even like the 9/11, all that stuff, they don't have a clue about. It seems like it's been hidden from them or not told. That's my opinion. That's what I see coming from a North America point of view. They hear about Trump, they hear about the politics and what have you, but they're not concerned because they think their government's free and free here. It is. It's very free here compared as a communist country. When I first got here, seeing millions and millions. There are 11 million people in Saigon, and there's no virus. There's nobody getting sick. It's incredible. And people are walking the streets like, "What are you talking about? There's nothing going on here." There's no government forcing them in there. No guns, no nothing going on here. It's amazing.
Well, there's really nothing going on here either, other than just a bunch of hype.
Yeah, well, these people know it. I mean, they don't have it like the news like we hear from North America. They just don't. It's not like that here.
Yep.
So I just wanted to get that through to you guys. Again, my appreciation for you guys, and I'm glad to be on your show.
Awesome.
I'm phoning long distance from Vietnam right now. I'm stuck in a place called Vong Tau, Vietnam, on a beach with a motorcycle, having the time of my life.
Awesome.
I can't get out of here because there's no planes leaving or coming or going.
Oh, so they are feeling that then, as there's no transportation going in and out. Is that because of the COVID scare?
Yes. Just yesterday or today, Monday. It's Monday here, and today there's no vehicles, transportation, public transportation leaving or coming or going out of Saigon. But if you got a motorcycle, you can come and go as you please. But there's no enforcement. It's the way it is here. People playing soccer and doing their own thing. The beaches are empty, because there's nobody here. All the white people, all the Americans, and the passports aren't here anymore. They didn't kick them out. They just left, like sheep. But I stayed, and I thought I'd run my visa out, and which I'm supposed to be flying back to Canada on the 16th. And well, now I can't leave because there's no planes leaving. So now my visa's going to run out, and I've been a bit of a trouble doing that. I have some people looking after me on that respect, speaking the language, because the government here, when they say what it is, there's no argument. You have no argument in this country. Whatever they say goes.
Yeah, interesting.
That's yeah.
Okay.
So thank you guys. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate it. Cheers to everybody. If anybody knows Robert DeRoger, I'm stuck in Vong Tau, Vietnam. Cheers, guys. Love you all.
Robert. Take care, man. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, you don't get the coronavirus if you're already communist and ready for the new world.
Isn't that the truth? Okay, I'll open the lines back up. That's pretty cool that nothing's going on there. And of course, does it surprise me? No, not in the least, because they're not being hyped to death, like we are.
Right, which should help alleviate people's fears. Hopefully nobody listening to the show is fearful, but things like that always should make you feel better.
Yep.
It's just the media. It's just the news. It's just propaganda and nonsense, and really just fear pushing. And that alone can make people sick. So,
yep,
it's a distraction from what you should really be paying attention to.
Yep, that's true. Okay.
Did you notice also, Jeran, like on the numbers page, right? The one that had the graph and everything. Do you see how they have the hockey stick graph, just like climate change?
And that's what you do, is show somebody a graph,
Yep, that's true. Hello, you're on with Globebusters. Who we got?
Oh, hello. This is Vadim. I'm really surprised to get into your show. Yeah, so it's thank you guys for keeping the show going, and it's really interesting times now. What's happening? But maybe you should do more of the phone calls more often, so that you can have other people give their opinions.
Yeah, I agree. We don't do this enough, and we always get so wound up in the topics. Then I've been meaning to do phone calls a couple of times, and we just ran out of time. So today I decided we're absolutely going to do it. So what do you think of all this? What do you think is going on with this coronavirus?
Well, I was just talking to my wife about this, and she was asking me, where do you get all these ideas? But just listening to some of the videos and finding some of the opinions,
It's cutting off for me.
I'm
it
not
looks
hearing
like
anything.
we're
Bob, if
getting
you're
into
hearing something nobody else
socialism.
is.
We're going to be, in China eventually with social score. Hopefully not, but
Bobby.
it's just.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's a really. Hello.
Yeah, that's weird. The people on that panel are not hearing you for some reason, but I am. So.
Oh, are people in the chat? I guess we can ask them. Or is it cutting out for the chat? Maybe Bob can just translate for us because we're not hearing it here, but maybe the chat's hearing. We'll ask. Everybody in the chat hear the call? Okay.
Yep. Okay. I'm sorry, caller. Go ahead and
Somebody
continue.
says, "Are these guys calling in on a can and a string?"
Yeah. Well, anyways,
Somebody let
I
us
think
know.
it's
Right, go ahead.
Rockefeller once said that.
Oh yeah, somebody's saying Jeran don't
Rockefeller
talk over
once
the
said
caller,
that
so they can hear it. We just can't hear it. Go ahead.
Oh,
Bob.
okay, just us.
We'll be quiet.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can
Yeah,
you say that again,
maybe
caller?
a decade or two ago.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. The Rockefeller once said that China is a role model for the whole world, and nobody really pays too much attention to this. And now we're seeing all these things happening, a virus originating in Wuhan, and the social score, and seeing all these things is it's like a science. It could happen to all of us, but I see that there are things happening in Russia, like the biometrics. It's been implemented last year, and all the system in banks were changed.
Interesting.
Voluntarily, of course. It's not mandatory. You cannot have it, enforced on people. But people were already starting to get a little bit uncomfortable. This idea of biometrics. Why do we need these digital passports? But after watching this video from TrueStream Media, they posted this video. We are living in the 12 monkeys. Did you guys watch this movie? I'm pretty sure you did. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out how to get it to the other ones, but I'll tell you what. Let me go ahead and hang up with you, and maybe you could try calling back a little bit, Brett, because I don't know why nobody is hearing you. But thank you for the call, and I apologize that we're having a little technical difficulty.
No problem. Sure, I'll call again.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoops. All right. So you guys didn't hear him, huh? Hello? Hello? You guys hearing me at all? Nobody's hearing me.
You're breaking in and out for me. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't even hear anything.
What?
Me either.
Nathan.
Maybe it's Nathan. Somebody's got some terrible background of like a hinge that needs oiling or a panting dog.
Maybe restart it.
There it is. All right.
I muted him. I'm sorry.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Now you can hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I was just hearing the dog and.
That's so weird.
Now it's okay.
Apparently, it was virtual audio cable having some issue. God, I feel bad. That caller was really nice and. Oh well.
So people heard what he had to say, though. What did he say? The gist of it.
He was just saying that they weren't having all that much issue there, but it was similar, but apparently not as amplified as it is here.
Where was he?
Gosh, I forgot. I was so distracted trying to figure out what was wrong. I couldn't listen to all of it. I felt so bad. All right. Well, let's turn the calls back on and see if we can get this. Now I know at least what to do if it goes down again, but virtual audio cable gets glitchy sometimes, and that's exactly what just happened. So we are back online with the phone calls, and hopefully you will be able to hear this time. So go ahead and call in, callers, 303-225-1019. And got me too, even. There we go. All right. Hello, you're on with the Globebusters. Who we got?
Okay, John Bernhardt.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Okay.
I'm very happy to hear your voice.
Cool. Okay. Now, first of all, let me see if the panel can hear you. Can the panel hear?
Yep. We can hear.
Okay, good. All right. All right. So, what do you think is going on with this coronavirus thing?
Oh, every hospital is empty, and we have doctors around us in the world, like Andrew Kaufman, trying to tell us the truth about many things. You know, people don't know about it, and what can we believe?
Yeah,
You know,
but what country are you in?
I'm in Sweden, but came from Iceland.
Oh, in Sweden, you said?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So, and your hospitals are empty there, so nothing really going on with the coronavirus.
No, nobody knows somebody that is sick or something like that. Nobody knows. I ask people around me everywhere, and they say, I ask them, do you know somebody that's sick? And everybody say, no, no,
Yeah,
nothing is happening here. It's just like a ghost town, you know.
yeah, it's pretty much the same thing going on here. I mean, there's all kinds of hype about that, but I still don't know anybody that knows anybody that, well, maybe some people that say they know people, but I don't personally know anybody that has been affected. So, and as far as the rest of the people, well, who knows? And it could be, even the people that supposedly have the symptoms could just have the flu, which is what I suspect it probably
Yes,
is.
yes, absolutely. It's so. There's no question about it. I think so.
Yep.
It's very, very strange. It's not. We live in fantasies, like the reality is away. Everything is going away. I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah, well, that's understandable. We're trying to figure that out too. I mean, there's obviously a big push going on for power and some sort of a major control move that's absolutely worldwide. But so far it seems to be having some sort of mixed success. So, just hang in there and stay positive.
I think it's very positive for the FE. Maybe it can open the eyes for people. They understand now. Maybe we are telling the truth about the things and everything. So they start to think in different ways. So I think that they are shooting in the foot. Themselves with all of this.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, I absolutely agree. This is just giving flat earthers more credibility the more the mainstream ruins their own. So, yeah, in some ways it could be good for us. So, all right, anything else?
I think so. I don't know. I just say I'm happy to be with you, and I love you all, and I hope we make it through.
All right. Well, you stay safe out there, and thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a good time.
Hey, Austin. Austin, what do you think the chances are that everybody who says that they're positive for this are leftist liberals, Hillary fans, Joe Biden supporters? They're probably all people who, the people who've made YouTube videos crying about how they have it. It's probably just all them. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I can see some people actually saying they're sick just so they can say Trump's bad.
Right? Can you see that? I can totally see that. That's all the positive. That Tom Hanks, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody else that's sick. I hear the same thing from everybody. I don't know anybody that knows anybody that's sick. Somebody in the flat Earth
Go straight for
sick soon.
heads of state.
Right. That and NBA players.
But
NHL
here's the
players.
thing: there are some people who are saying, "Oh yeah, my so and so is sick and they tested positive for the coronavirus." Even if they tested positive for the coronavirus, what we're learning is that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It doesn't
mean that they're sick. I know
doesn't
people
mean that they're sick. Exactly.
Right, people that are tested positive, they're told to just go home, drink fluids, and self isolate. If this was a pandemic, they would be put in isolation.
The same thing that basically you're told when you have the flu.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. It's insane.
Oh, drink some water.
Yeah, and nobody knows how the test works, right? and how exactly they're doing it. So
Rodrigo,
And
where
then-
are you? Rodrigo, where are you? In Brazil?
I'm in Holland.
You're in Holland. And how do you feel right now?
I feel fine.
You must have it. Everyone stay away from Rodrigo.
Yeah, that's got to be it.
No, you know what? Like last time I got flu-like symptoms, I got nervous. I was having discussions with my dad, and that's how I got the flu. And then that passed pretty quickly. So
Okay.
that was way before this thing. So I know that the only times I get when I get upset is when I get something that's kind of like a flu.
Okay. Now, guys, we have our call back. I think that you guys weren't able to hear. Hello, caller. Are you there?
Hey, how are you?
Much better. Can you guys hear him now?
Yeah, we hear.
Awesome. All right.
Perfect.
Perfect.
My name is Vadim. I'm calling from Canada.
Hey, Vadim.
And I still didn't get. Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Listening to your show regularly, the Sunday Mass, as you used to call it.
Yeah.
Pretty good show.
Thank you. So
So I was talking about this 12 monkeys scenario. I always thought it was this ridiculous idea, but there are some Easter eggs in that movie.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty disturbing, all this stuff, anyways. But
Yeah, the
as I
movie
was
goes
saying,
straight
there was
into
this
it.
video from True Media about. They weren't really talking about the movie itself, but they were talking about the research, and it's pretty scary, you know. But what really bothers me is if we're going to turn into a China with the socialism and the social score, that would be total control for voice and freedom. They're saying some really interesting things. What do you guys think about it?
Well, I personally have not seen the 12 Monkeys thing, but I do understand about, China is very, militant, and I know that, as far as a lot of countries admire their militancy and their control over their population. But Rodrigo, you probably better. Have you seen 12 Monkeys, Rodrigo?
Yeah, the original 12 Monkeys is the Bruce.
I
Bruce,
see
Willis
yesterday.
film. Well, I mean, it's about a pandemic. It's about people coming from the future to, well, it's this kind of twisted story where he's the person who is present in pandemic, but he doesn't know, and it's got a lot of probably Easter eggs of mind control. But in that film, once the vial breaks, once the pathogen is released in the airport, it goes everywhere and destroys the whole world. But
Yeah, and
you just saw
also-
it, yeah.
Yeah, I saw yesterday with Linda, but also has another encrypted message because they want to try to, it's the same thing that happened now, that supposedly the global warming, but it's a hoax and
Yeah,
everything
that's right.
is made for this. Well, at that time in that movie, they make the idea that supposedly is like people that wants to get free the animals. But the guys, which is Brad Pitt, the leader of that movement, it was just for get free animals, but nothing had to do with the virus. So the virus came from inside the workers in the lab, and so the similarities are very. Of course, it's a science fiction movie with time travel and things like that. But,
And they go underground, right? They end up living underground in a dystopian future, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the thing is, they couldn't stop it, and the main character just played the same scenario that he saw himself, and it's so weird, but who knows, and the moral of the video of True Media was kind of the same, that it doesn't matter what we did all this time, bringing people together, and but see now what's happening now, it's going to be even more controlled. Such a doom and gloom, but hopefully it's not going to be like this. And we're just, but you know what? 2 weeks ago, everything was different. Everything was like not so paranoid, and everybody thought that everything will just be normal, just in a couple weeks, and it's just a little situation. But it went way overhead, became worldwide, spread pandemic situation.
Yeah.
The new 9/11.
For me, some World War Z scenario. I'd have to see it to believe it. They're trying to pre-program us to believe that's even a possibility. I You
Zombie
just show
wars.
me. I'd rather take my chances. Yeah,
The hardest
that
thing.
sounds fun.
The hardest thing to believe in this whole scenario is that Bob hasn't seen 12 Monkeys.
I
Are you kidding
haven't.
me?
I swear I have not. No.
Yeah, you,
Bob,
you
get
need the
with the program, man. Come on.
Well, but he's seen enough Star Trek to compensate. So
That's right.
Oh,
I'm sure.
So, all right. Well, I'll put it on my to-do list.
Top of the list.
Okay.
You know,
Do you
the
guys
real
believe in
thing.
a global reset?
I'm sorry. What about the global reset?
Do you believe in a global reset?
Well, I think that it's a distinct possibility. You know, given the evidence that we've seen lately.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, well, what my idea is, there is we have our history, which is total mystery. We don't know 100% all the facts. We can't really gather because let's say World War II, for example, we don't have any witnesses anymore. Just only the kids survived who was working as slaves. The workforce at the time that. They're the only veterans that's left. So imagine now that all these old people that are disappearing from the earth because of coronavirus and whatever epidemic that's going to follow. And our history is really, really precious. And it's without history, we don't have the future, as it was said before.
Yes.
And global reset basically is like erasing certain inconvenient things from the history that nobody should know, and everything is under control this way.
Yeah,
that's the whole idea. And I'm not saying that it's beginning, but it just seems this way.
Yeah. Well,
let's just pray that we're all wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just a test, like Neil deGrasse said it. We're in a test.
Yeah, well, let's hope that's all it is, and that it's not as severe. But I'm a little apprehensive about it. But again, let's just hope I'm wrong, and I'm going to try not to give in to the fear. So there you have it.
But you don't. There's one thing, Bob. You don't need to worry because Chris Hadfield has just put a video out explaining, the astronaut's guide to quarantine isolation.
Okay.
So we're covered for that.
All
And
right.
no, and believe it or not, like it's got in a few days got 500,000 views. This video in his channel. That it's like it doesn't have many subscribers, so it's probably being pushed.
I haven't been able to watch the whole thing just because I can't stand him. But isn't one of the things that he said as a must is to go outside for walks?
Yeah, he's just on the rural area or something. Yes.
Yeah, but if you're in the
That
UK,
guy.
you get bullied for that. Yeah, okay. Okay, Vadim,
Followed by a drone.
Have you got anything else for us?
Yeah, good show, guys. And take more calls next time.
All right, will do. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right, bye-bye.
But at the end, it's like we had witnessed the change of the post-industrial society into digital feudalism and scientific dictatorship. That is something. That is the kind of scenario to resume that you can start
But
thinking
are we
about
already
it.
in
Like a
that?
technocracy.
A technocracy, yeah, because at the beginning of the 20th century, they need workers to go to the industry but now they have the AI, they have the robots, so they don't want any more humans, and that is the society post-industrial society. Every 100, 150 years, they change years, and what we have witnessed today is that they have the technology to replace humans.
Yeah, pretty scary, isn't it? Speaking of that, you guys obviously know I'm a big Star Trek fan, and the season finale of Picard just ended. And of course, what's interesting about it is it was a big push towards transhumanism. And I don't want to. So if you're listening, if you're a Star Trek Picard fan, cover your ears because I'm going to let loose a spoiler alert here. But the series actually ends where Picard has this brain abnormality and he finally dies, but they transfer his consciousness into a synth or synthetic. So Picard becomes AI, which is absolutely insane.
Wasn't Elon Musk's grandfather arrested for technocracy and then appealed the conviction and had it overturned or something?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so how does he fit in this whole future technocratic civilization?
Were you saying, Austin, that you look into the past of Elon Musk and it's like his mother and everything is quite sketchy?
Yeah,
Because
he's a really real cultic, yeah.
yeah, because did you see the thing about Anderson Cooper and that boy in the wall? Do you know what I'm talking about in the painting?
I don't.
I almost there's the film that David shared, the one of the Dutch researcher, the Q one, and she looks into a lot of the Pizzagate stuff, and I was like, what? That she shows that the swimming pool, some of the paintings there on the walls, the pedestal walls that have girls in a swimming pool being bound. And there's a boy hanging on a wall and he's in a torture jacket. He's hanging on a wall. Inside, they know where the mansion is, where the swimming pool actually is. And the boy looks exactly like Anderson Cooper. And Anderson Cooper happens to be the son of the woman that owns the house.
Oh, wow. The Vanderbilts? Because I'm from Tennessee. That's Middle Tennessee.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, are they saying that was in the Vanderbilt house, the Biltmore House pool? As I've been there.
Something like
That's
that.
here in Asheville, North Carolina. I've been to that house and I've seen that pool. And it does look like that painting, kind of, yeah.
No, the boy looks just like Anderson Cooper. Like, I was like, I couldn't believe it. But yeah, it's quite possible that, I mean, that those paintings are not paintings. They're live paintings, right? That's what's very scary about that.
And the Biltmore House was only open to the public starting in the late 60s.
Yep.
What did you mean, talking to Austin here, what did you mean about Elon Musk's dad? Because the only thing I'd ever heard about him, didn't he marry? No, he had a baby with his stepdaughter. I know that. And I know he killed 3 people in South Africa, but I think he was acquitted. Is that what you're talking about? You're talking about something different. What did you say?
I think it's his grandfather or great-grandfather was arrested for technocracy in the United States and then appealed it, and it was overturned.
Oh, okay. I know he killed 3 people. That's all I heard, but I thought you were talking about that because I know he was acquitted of that. And then I know he had a child with his stepdaughter. But I don't know anything about his
There are royalty practices.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
And he says it was God's plan.
Yeah, Darwin got plans, yeah.
Shout
well,
out.
when you look at the occultic part of his history of his family, it makes more sense how he's named Elon, and that's the main character in the Werner Van Braun space fiction novel about the civilization on Mars.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Hey,
yeah.
Shout out to Plain Reality for the super chat, who says James Corbett did an awesome show there the other day called Medical Martial Law. If you haven't watched it, it's worth a watch. So, and David, you're not a big Corbett fan, are you? You think?
No, I like him.
You do like him. Okay.
That video is in my playlist that's on the app, so it's in there. It's a great video. It's near the top.
What's up?
Okay, who's the guy that you think fearmongers too much?
Oh, Chris Green.
Oh, Christopher Green. Okay.
AMTV or MTV?
But I have to tell you, I do watch him because it's humorous, and he does give some good information. You can't, throw out, I throw out the garbage, and but since this lockdown's happened, he's had some good rants. I'll give it to you. You just got to cut off the end where he's selling Bitcoin and everything else.
Right.
But he, as Jeran put it, every video is breaking news. Martin, this is happening, and then 2 weeks later he deletes the video because it was wrong. And so, you don't. If you look back at all of his videos, he's just the worst. But he's been putting out some good rants. Talking about what's really happening with the economy, and he does have some knowledge. So I'll give him credit there. And he once did make a great flat Earth presentation, so he gets an extra point there.
I like the Fullerton Informer as well.
Yeah, he's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm gonna turn on the calls again for. Let's take like one more call, and then we'll call it a show. So I'm turned on the calls again. And thanks guys for calling. This is kind of cool. It's definitely something we don't do all that often. So very cool. All right, so line is open. I only have one line. 303-225-1019. So give us a call, and we'll take one more call. So, Erie, what's the weather like down there? Oh, never mind. Hang on a second. Hello, you are on with the Globebusters. Who are we talking to?
Hey guys, this is David in Mountain Home, Arkansas.
Hey, David, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you guys. I love you all. I pray for you all. I just a couple things. I'm looking on my YouTube channel and the recommended videos, that they have underneath there. Top headlines. You've got one from today. Hospitals overwhelmed. Coronavirus cases surpassed 100,000 in the U.S. Really? I mean, here's the next one. CBS this morning. Here's how the coronavirus stimulus affects you. Next one, CNBC. How the U.S. falls dangerously behind the coronavirus testing. I mean, it's just nonstop, and I don't see it. I'm in a little town here in Mountain Home. Everything's business as usual. Yeah, the restaurants. I feel bad for the local restaurants. A lot of them have completely closed up. All the Chinese restaurants closed up. No business whatsoever.
Same here.
It's just frustrating. And I don't know where this is going. I'm 50 years old and I've never seen anything like this. I have family down in Florida. Things are starting to get a little crazy down there in Tallahassee, but I was just talking to a friend of mine down there last night for 3 hours. They're not seeing, and Tallahassee's the capital, they're not seeing hospitals being overrun with people. And so I don't know how people can continually believe all this.
I know. I know the same thing here. And, that's something that I think a lot of people need to do as our viewers. Get out there, visit these hospitals, put documentation out there, put it on YouTube, expose this bullshit. I mean, that's our best thing. Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm saying what he's saying is what I was saying early on is the reason people believe it is because it's on the news. They trust the news. That's where they get their information. And the other part is they don't know that evil exists. They don't believe it because people are good people. Generally, overall, people are nonviolent. All the stuff we see on the news doesn't really happen. Okay. Mass shootings aren't a thing. They've just convinced us that they are a thing. So they're literally programming the world, and people are just absorbing it and becoming it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I agree. And another thing, typical YouTube, when you go into subscriptions under my subscriptions, of course, there's no notifications that you guys are on. Even when I go into my subscription and it shows the channels in my subscription list that are actually streaming live, you guys don't even show up. I have to actually go into my subscription list, go to the Globebuster subscription, and then find you there that you're live.
That's crazy.
They are totally shadow banning you guys. It's shameful. I mean, and that's why I support you guys on D Live. I support your independent channels. I try to listen to you guys. I'm not a fanboy, but little town where I'm at, there's not a lot of. I try to flat smack as many people as I can. I try to wake them up with your app, Dave, and I got to tell you, it's that app. I don't want to plug for you, but that app is the greatest thing, man. I could break that out and just totally just blow people away. And I'm not going to, kind of like what you guys say, I don't force things on folks because that just doesn't work. All you can do is just kind of, you can guide a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Yep, absolutely.
Alex says in his song.
Yeah, pretty much.
You can't see it right now.
Well, guys, I'm gonna let you.
His house.
I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you go, and I'll take off, and I'll continue listening. But I really do appreciate you all, and God bless you all, and we'll get through this. No fear.
All right, thank you, David. Appreciate it.
All right,
All
take
right,
care. Bye bye.
Okay, guys. So that's going to be it for the calls coming in. So I see a lot of people have been trying. I apologize we didn't get to you, but we will do this more often. It's kind of fun, and just not something I'm really used to. So all right. Okay, Austin, I saw you posted something. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. I was that's a picture I'd taken of the newspaper where Elon Musk's grandfather was arrested for. It was actually Canada. Apparently. Yeah.
Interesting.
Then he went to South Africa, and from there,
Saskatchewan.
Had the beautiful children that we're graced with now. Thank God for Elon Musk.
Awesome. Okay.
We'll be able to live on Mars soon in our electric cars and dig tunnels under cities.
Yep.
Yeah, what that looks like is that he had a company called Technocracy Incorporated. Is that it?
Yeah.
Which is, and then he did some fraud and something.
Yeah, and then was arrested by the RCMP police. Interesting. Okay. Well, guys, it's been 3 hours, and it went pretty fast today. That was amazing. We had a lot of people on, so it's a really good show. So I guess I'll go around one more time unless anybody has anything specific you think we should mention, but otherwise we'll just go ahead and go around one more time. And Rodrigo, I guess we'll start with you. And any other final comments on this?
Yeah, well, I think we said enough. Yeah, there we have it on the screen. Bullshit. But yeah, just keeping up, trying to talk, be in touch with my parents and everyone that people trying to do the best to survive this thing, and we don't know what's coming next. So all the best for you guys, and hoping for the best, but we know. Yeah, we can't really predict everything that's coming. So, yeah, keeping up with my work, trying my best to keep busy. So, yeah, looking at films. Probably a new film Monday, tomorrow. That was the plan. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna go and look at THX 1138 because it makes a lot of sense. I was looking at Clockwork Orange, and that is from the same year. And THX 1138 there's a lot to do with what they're trying to roll out, the kind of society that they want. It's in that film. They say the future's here in that film. It's been almost 50 years since the release, and the things I found in A Clockwork Orange, and I'm not sure you guys had a chance to see. My channel's totally shadow banned and almost dead, but there's I couldn't believe what the information about the moon landings that was in A Clockwork Orange. But yeah, it's something we can talk about sometime.
Okay.
But yeah, I collected lots of clips on that, and there's, if you can do it for yourself, look into the scene where Alex, the main character, is being taken to the hospital where he's going to undergo the treatment, and Kubrick has a big red chart in the back of the doctors when he's admitted, and that talks about JFK, Lyndon Johnson, Apollo 12 to 14, which is exactly that date, 71. It has it on there. It talks about medical supplements, psychological supplements, electrical shocks, and it even has things like bum fag on it. Like, he was pissed off. That film, he was really pissed off. It is almost like, that's the reason, David, watch it again, because you say that The Exorcist doesn't make you queasy. Try to watch Clockwork Orange again, and that's from 1971. And bear in mind that in the very first scene, you're gonna see on the wall, the very first scene, Moloch Adrenochrome, right in front of you, in 71, and that's over 50 years ago that he knew about this. So he's screaming to try to tell the story, and I think he was, my personal opinion, that he was traumatized with this, and that he had to, all his films subsequently were all trying to expose something, and things that we're finding out about now. So
interesting. Yep, I haven't seen The Clockwork Orange, but I have seen THX 1138. So anyway, I'll put 12 Monkeys on my to-do list, and maybe A Clockwork Orange too. I've seen little bits and pieces. It just looks freaky, but not exactly my cup of tea. But maybe if I'm real bored, I'll watch it. So
yeah, it's more for the Easter eggs than you're gonna understand when you see it. And if you like, just watch my breakdown. It's of course like a 3-hour thing, but it's all in there.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so Karen, we'll move along to you. What do you got coming up, and what are your final comments?
I have Tuesdays. I do Strange World with Mark Sargent on TFR, and also Thursdays I do Unveiling This Realm with Brian Stavely. We go back and forth between his channel and my channel, and we have an email address that you can send us stuff to, unveilingthisrealm@gmail.com, if you want to participate in the stuff that we're doing on those shows. So that's what I have going on, and my last words would be: don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of the virus. Try to get your loved ones to not be afraid, because nobody has to be afraid of the virus.
No, I don't think we're afraid of the virus. We're afraid of the idiots that are propagating the myth.
Yeah,
that's what I'm afraid of.
That's the problem. That's the problem. But the people that don't know that are afraid of this virus that isn't even real. It's not real.
Yep, that's so true. So true. So, all right. Well, that sounds good, and thank you for being on the show. And let's move around. And David, I guess we'll move along to you. And I know that Russian Vids is going to be on with you and Jeran tomorrow night. Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. He's always got great information, and it'll fill up the whole show, I'm sure. So that'll be great. Also, just remind everybody that share these videos of what's going on. I have a great playlist. It's linked on the app under the web button, which is the bottom left button of the 6 buttons. And there's a lot of deception out in this world right now. This is part of it. The globe deception is a big part of it. So just share it all. Just help people see the deception. And it's difficult because the mind control is so strong out there. But I would almost say it's like it feels like it's too late, but it's never too late. Just keep waking up people. That's it.
Yep, I hear you. That sounds good. All right, sir. And let's go ahead and move to you, Iru. And how are you and Linda surviving through all of this?
Well, we're doing well. We're doing well. But yeah, it's the same thing. There is a complete hysteria everywhere. The media propagating fear. This is like at least for me that this is the new type of wars, and you need to take it is. Of course, not to be fear or to have fear, not to paralyze things like that. But unfortunately, it's the change of the implementation of these final steps to the New World Order. I am more in the way that George Orwell said, everything depends on us. So that depend on us is, spread the word, trying to communicate, trying to give information, trying to be prepared in terms. That is why I always recommend things like the New Germanic Medicine or the CDS or that kind of therapy, alternative therapy that don't belong to anyone, don't belong to the big pharma, don't belong to the government, and the rest trying to keep informed and contrast information and be safe.
Yep, good advice, always outstanding. All right, cool. So Austin, we will move along to you. And what do you got going on coming up this week?
Just do some streams. Kind of been slacking off. Probably try to do one every night. I just saw this thing. The CDC will set up a coronavirus surveillance and data collection system, and the agency would receive emergency funding that would require them to skirt around, or it says, which will have to navigate privacy laws as expensive surveillance. But so that would be my thing, a wrap up about the whole thing is, like Karen said, don't freak out, because we can actually just prove this is all nonsense, like fear propaganda. And then just while you're not freaking out, keep an eye out for exactly what they're trying to sneak in while everyone's distracted.
Yeah, no kidding. That's exactly what I would say too, because they are definitely, sleight of hand. That's what this is all about. There's no doubt about that in my mind. So good advice. So cool. All right. And Nathan, wow, did you just pop back in? Hello, Nathan. There you are.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, were you out of the show for a minute, or?
Like 5 minutes, my phone died. Sorry, I'm running errands.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. Well, anyway, so any final words on anything?
Yeah, guys, just remember in these crazy times, love one another, is patient and kind. Sharing is caring. If anyone needs Flat Earth Flyers, hit me up, flatearthflyers@gmail.com. Please add some friends to the official Flat Earth and Globe discussion group. We're doing a lot of chat right now in there about this 5G COVID connection, germ theory stuff. Hopefully the group doesn't get taken down. Pray for that. Pray for protection around everyone on the panel. And thanks to everyone in the chat for being here, all the moderators running the show, everyone who's super chatted. You guys are awesome. And I hope to see you guys soon. Thanks for having me on the show, Bob.
All right, cool. Nathan, thanks for joining us, and take care of yourself, man.
I will. Everybody be blessed.
All right, sounds good. All right, and last but certainly not least, Jeran, what do you got coming up besides all the normal stuff?
Yeah, just normal stuff. Monday, like Dave says, we have Russian vids, so that should be fun. And then Thursday, we're either going to have Iru do part 4 or Josh.
Yes.
You want to do it this Thursday or next Thursday, Iru? Did you
No,
decide?
no. If you want to, this one.
Okay, we'll do it this Thursday. So this Thursday will be Iru. The following Thursday will be Josh Brown from the Spiral Life. And thank you, Josh, if you're listening to this, for being able to be bumped. Always nice of you. And for the lounge, I've reached out to Joe. Karen mentioned him, the Fullerton Informer, and he has not texted me back. But if he does, then he'll probably join us on Friday. If not, well, then it will just be the normal people. So thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to the mods, and just reminding people to be clear-minded. Don't have fear. Don't let yourself succumb to all this worry. Don't watch the news. And if you do, I'll do so with the knowledge that it's meant to destroy your mind, and don't let them tear you down. Don't let them worry you into sickness. I think to be healthy, you have to eat healthy, you have to think healthy, you have to drink healthy, but it all starts with thinking healthy and thinking clearly. So that's step one. And if you fall for that one, then it wouldn't surprise me if people start getting sick everywhere because they're making you sick. So thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Yep, I agree with that. Yeah, it's you start worrying about it, and it's going to take you apart 100%. So, all right, cool. Well, I guess that's it for me. And guys, I would definitely recommend paying attention to the Project Bluebeam, presentations that Eero has been doing, because in my mind, that is still a very, very big player and very realistic possibility to be incorporated into this endgame scenario. So that's something I would definitely pay attention to. It's something I have studied literally for 2 decades. And I believe very much that, this is not something that they are giving up. And in fact, I think a lot of it is being used actively today. And that's something that last night I had a discussion with, I don't know if you guys know Boogeyman and Boogie Bex on the Boogeyman channel, but boy, I'll tell you, they turned me on to some photographs that they got last night that absolutely blew my mind. And I want to have them on one of these days to kind of present some of those things. Crazy stuff. But
What is it?
well, without going into too much detail, it's a type of photography where they are able to see things in the sky that you wouldn't normally be able to see by taking a level of refraction out of the sky. And some of the things they photographed will just bend your head. I've never seen anything like
creatures?
It's like creatures, it's like structures, it's like, I mean, I was blown away last night. And so, yeah, it's something I definitely want to get into. So I'll be having Boogie on the show. And
What is this channel?
It's called Boogeyman.
Boogeyman
channel, yep. And
You're talking about the Santilli telescope.
that is exactly what I'm talking about, Iru.
Yeah, we showed a few time before. We showed that information in some Jeran launch. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Man, I couldn't believe the stuff I was seeing. And what was really weird is they have one picture where they took a picture of the firmament, and those old depictions of the firmament where they show the waterway or the gateways going across the firmament. They photographed something that was exactly like that, and I was just beside myself. I was blown
Was
away.
it almost like a row of lights that stay in the same horizontal line?
Well, there were pictures that were like that, that were like on a truss or something. It's hard to describe, and you just have to see it to believe it. I mean, I still don't know what to make of it, but the technique is exceedingly simple, and it's just crazy.
Because did you? I'm not sure you had a chance to look, but the video I made about Lucretia is talking about what he calls the walls of the world, and ether, the role of the ether, how the ether hugs the earth, and how the ether is the most light and fluid part of creation, how it came out of the earth. You have to take a look at it. I think you dig it. I think I sent it to you. It's another thing that I've been studying, and because they say this guy is a baller, and he's not at all. It's like,
Awesome.
but
There's so much that we are just still, even to this day, even for us woke people, I think there's still so much that we are absolutely oblivious to. It's a mind bender. So
what is odd on that one is that just these walls of the world, he never even questions their existence. He questions whether the moon's a ball or not, and he gives credence to both sides. He says it could be a ball, but there's also indication it's not. But the walls of the world, they're there, and he doesn't even question them. And I thought that was quite odd.
Yeah,
and that it reminded me of what you just said. So
yeah, and when you see some of these pictures, you're going to go, "Whoa!" So I'm looking forward to presenting that.
And there is also a special. Well, it's not a special, but I mean there is a channel that use the Santilli telescope and upload videos, but very long videos showing these so-called structures, or because it's like some kind of fixed light with shapes, and the videos are super crazy, man. I mean, it's amazing. When you see in pictures, it's shock your head, but when you see like 40 minutes continuous 40-minute looking these structures in the skies with all these colors, it's really strange.
Where is this channel?
I cannot remember the name, but I am subscribed, and of course for me it was really will be really nice that if you can put up there 30 kilometers 35 and film these kind of things without the atmospheric the atmosphere in between, but that's really difficult to do, but at least there is another type of looking into the sky. And Bob, remember to download the link that I sent to you via WeTransfer, because it's going to erase. I don't know if you already done it or not.
I don't think I did. Where did you send it to me on Skype? Or maybe I did. I'm not sure.
On Skype, yes. It's all about the chemtrailing from the 50s with barium and aluminum from NASA.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah. I will download. I haven't downloaded it yet. I will get to that today.
If you have trouble, tell me and I resend.
Okay, sounds good. All right, guys. Beautiful. Yeah, and so I'm definitely looking forward to that, Rodrigo. It'll blow you away. And Ira, I'm glad you know about it, because I was speechless. I was like, holy smokes. I've never seen anything like that.
I have a few gigabytes downloaded in my computer.
Oh, awesome. Well, I know what we're going to do a show on. All right, cool. All right, guys. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week. And until then, be good to each other. Don't lie to each other. Open your mind, because there's truth inside. Peace out, everybody.
Adios, muchachos.
Peace.